All right, everyone, want to do an intro?
Go ahead and do an intro for us.
All right, welcome to Realpolitik, RNC Night 3. So excited to be here. I mean, we got great responses to Night 1, y'all. So ready to do this shit again. How about you?
Oh yeah, dude, definitely ready. I just don't think I'll ever see anything as good as Kimberly Guilfoyle's speech.
Yeah, shout out to all of our Republican fans out there who are making our podcast a success. Keep listening.
Keep pushing, man. Tell your friends about it.
We got some Q drops coming in later episodes, so y'all just stick around, okay?
We're slow burning this into a QAnon podcast. You have myself, Paul Holden, producer extraordinaire. We got John Barbera and Chris the Plumber on the line.
It's in the pipes, baby.
Yeah, dog. Well, I'm excited. We got this shit kicked off. We got Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg speaking right now. So we can go ahead and tease the sound up a little bit, make sure that y'all can hear.
He's the National Security Advisor to the Vice President. That has to be the most inconsequential job in American government.
Well, especially with Mike Pence, you know. There's never been a bigger cuck as VP than Pence.
You and I know. The answer
he's just a massive brainlet dude. He's not a very smart character.
This is the most important election of
and also like Trump gonna Trump, right? No matter what a national security advisor says. But then on top of that, the national security advisor to the vice president, you know, I wonder if Mike just says, dude, just don't even worry about it today, man.
Yeah, he doesn't even get a full general to be his national security advisor.
God bless America.
And he's retired, dude, so he's not even like active military.
Yeah, this guy's like, he's on the retirement schedule. He works a couple days a week. Usually doesn't come into the office.
2 days a week, probably working about 10 hours, gets paid probably about $250K a year.
Probably more than that, to be honest with you.
It's still a government job at the end of the day, but is it Tulsi?
No, my name is Tara Myers.
I wish.
Tonight, I am here as a wife and mother
school choice
to share
advocate.
How education freedom has personally impacted my family, especially the life of my son Samuel.
They really do a good
Before
job, though,
Samuel
on
was
the
even
school
born,
choice
I was told his life
messaging.
wouldn't be worth living.
Paul really loves private schools and charter schools. You want to talk about that, Paul?
What?
How much you love charter schools and private schools?
When have I ever said that?
You got mad at me for shitting on charter schools.
No, I said I had a friend that was involved with one, and you immediately started shitting on him.
Yeah, because definitely a shitbird if you work at a charter school.
All right. Well, anyways,
it's like work at a good public school.
I actually am not. I'm not. I don't really have strong feelings either way. But to me, it seems like if people want to send their kids to charter schools, it's whatever.
Well, that's just a wrong opinion, John, so I'm going to let it slide for now.
We don't have time to explain how wrong I am.
You know, we could have a whole podcast dedicated to why you're wrong, but let's just suffice it to say we'll end it there.
I'm just scared that if we start eroding the school choice movement, that I won't be able to start my cult school down the road. So I just want to make sure there's a space for me in this education.
Listen, there will always be private schools in the hills, right?
Yeah, the hills have eyes.
The deep in the hills. Deep in the hills. Paul, we've lost everything.
Give me a second. I'm having audio issues over here.
Okay. Anyways. So those are a couple of my thoughts on school choice. I actually don't think we've discussed that on the pod.
We have.
We've never once discussed school choice on the pod.
Well, we haven't really gone down the education pathway too much.
No. Job,
it's our most
Your son is amazing.
He'll tear the pod apart.
Unlike the told me,
in South Carolina, I don't know if this name rings out to you, but the big school choice advocate is Jim DeMint, and he's just like a piece of shit. So that's how I know school choice is a bad deal.
Yeah, that's fair. Can you all hear?
I would like to extend my thanks to President Trump and his administration for their work towards making
One of
every
the funny
student's
things
dream
was
of a meaningful
every
education
state
a
got,
reality.
a
And
couple
for fighting to ensure every
$1 million
child in America has an
in
equal
school
seat at
relief
the
funds to
table
buy
of
like
education
PPE
freedom
and
an equal
if you needed more
opportunity in life.
buses or desks
you.
or whatever
May
it
God
is, like
bless
generally,
America.
to open up your school in a safe way. South Carolina ended up getting $35 million. Our fucking governor, Henry McMaster, gave it all of it to private schools.
Wow.
Whoa, that's dark.
All of it. And you know what he did with it? He made it like a voucher program.
13 years before the
So,
American
like,
Civil War.
if you, it was something crazy. Like, if you made $80,000 a year or less, then you could get into this voucher program. Like, it was an insane amount of money.
Yeah. Wait, we're now doing a We Freed the Slaves montage.
To fight for that freedom when they were selected as delegates for an
suffragettes,
anti-slavery convention. But upon arrival, were told they could not speak or vote at the male-dominated event. On July 9, 1848,
All
Mom,
Democrats.
Stanton, and 3 other women
The
met
Democrats are the real
by the end
racists.
of the day,
Yeah.
they'd formed a coalition
Yeah, baby.
with the sole purpose of gaining the right for women to vote, so they in turn would be free to fight for the freedoms of others. Women across America
like how they
united
made the
and formed activist
picture of the
groups
women look
working
like they're moving.
tirelessly to win the vote for
though they're
American
obviously
women.
not.
The unconquerable
some high
Susan
There's no
B.
moving
Anthony
pictures.
became one of the most visible leaders of women's suffrage.
Susan
when
B.
in
Anthony,
1872,
mustache.
She registered and voted
B.
for every
Very high
Republican
tech.
on the ballot. As punishment,
I
Oh,
must
yeah,
stash
Susan
you
B.
a
Anthony.
question.
arrested for illegal voting. At the request of Susan B. Anthony, Senator A.A. Sargent
Republican.
introduced the 19th Amendment in 1878. The Susan B. Anthony
Republican.
Amendment was submitted and defeated 4 times, but women continued to fight. Sojourner
Defeated
Truth
by
and many other
Democrats.
black suffragettes defied segregation, fighting for
I love
all
it,
women's
dude.
voices to be heard and allowed
This is
to
Why
so
vote.
didn't they do
dumb.
this
The
night
2 years
one?
prior to ratification, the Silent Sentinels quietly picketed the White House.
What if they
Finally,
changed
when
those pictures of
Republicans
like
regained control of
Obama or
Congress
something,
on
right?
August
Like
26,
how much longer
1920, the
will we
Equal
have to wait,
Suffrage
President
Amendment was signed into law.
Obama?
Women's suffrage movement took 72 years and would change the lives of women forever. The victory was achieved
Well, I think
peacefully
probably to
through
be
the
fair,
valiant efforts of women
suffrage
patriots
has been
and democratic
thousands
process.
of years for women.
100 years later, in a bold declaration of rights
Yes,
for women,
that would be accurate. That would be accurate.
Only 70 years. It only took 70
Only
years.
70 years. It's no big deal. We solved inequality of genders.
Yeah.
It was just a 70-year. We forgot to put
Women
them
never
in.
wanted the right to vote before then, right? Never.
To be fair, men didn't get the right to vote till 70 years before, I think is what they're saying. Or however many years.
Well, it was. I mean, I think it was.
More like 100.
The 14th Amendment that did
I'm
it,
Kaylee
right?
McEnany. You may know me as
We got a girl,
Yes.
Kellyanne Conway,
But
press
tonight,
secretary in the
I'm here to
House.
share with you
Kelly!
how he supported me,
I like her,
both
dude.
as a
She's
new mom
fierce.
and as an American with a pre-existing condition.
She's like way
When I was
brutal
21
in the
years
press
old,
conferences,
I
and
got a
she
call that
likes
changed
it,
my life.
You know?
To be clear,
dude.
this
It
is
was my
Kaylee
doctor
McEnany, not
informing me
Kellyanne.
that I had
Conway.
tested
Not Kellyanne
positive
Conway.
for the
Conway.
BRCA2 genetic
Oh, sorry. I
mutation.
said.
A mutation that put
She is
my
Kellyanne
chances of
Conway
breast
speaking
cancer
later. I'm
at
reading through the
81%.
list
I mean,
right now.
all Republican women
It
are
was the same
blonde,
mutation
so
that
it
my
does
mom
get a
had,
little tough. But
compelling her to
Kellyanne
get a
Conway has
preventative
about
double mastectomy.
30 years
If you
on.
mix up the letters in her name,
But
I
protecting
think you
her
can
from a
turn it into
disease that has
Kellyanne
taken
Conway.
far too many of our
Genetically.
mothers, our sisters.
She's actually had a
my
really
family, 8
interesting
women alone were
meteoric
diagnosed with breast cancer.
rise.
Several in their young 20s.
Yeah,
Who?
she
Nobody
made her name.
4
I
She was a
years
now
no-
face
ago.
the same
Yeah,
prospect.
she was a nobody in
For
2016.
nearly a decade,
And like, was it
I was
this kind of
routinely at Moffitt
sharp-witted?
Cancer Center, getting MRIs,
sharp-witted
ultrasounds,
character on
and necessary
CNN, I believe.
surveillance.
She was always on the
During
panels,
these
you know,
visits,
being the
I
sole
crossed paths
Republican
with
on the
brave
panels.
women
Well, and not
battling
even the sole
cancer and
Republican.
fighting
She
through
was the sole
chemotherapy.
Trump
They were a testament to
supporter.
American
Yeah,
strength.
you're right. They usually would
They
have like two
are
anti-Trump
American
Republicans
heroes.
on
Yeah.
the panels as
On
well.
May
Well, you had
1st,
to have like a Cruz person and a
2018,
Kasich person.
I followed in my
And
mother's
then they were
footsteps,
like, let's give this
choosing to get
pretty
a
blonde
preventative
a Trump
mastectomy.
spot.
I was scared
She looks
The night
like
before
every
I
girl
fought
that
back
goes to
tears.
University of Alabama.
as I prepared to lose a piece
That's
of
right.
myself
SEC
forever.
potential for sure.
But the next day, with my mom, dad, husband, and Jesus Christ by my
Did she talk
side,
about
And
getting a
Jesus
I
bisectomy?
underwent a mastectomy.
Jesus Christ,
Almost
yes.
eliminating my chance of breast cancer, a decision
Hey, drop
I
the
now
closed
celebrate.
captioning, Paul,
Breast reconstruction has advanced
for the
remarkably.
YouTube. For the YouTube.
While it is an
For the
individual's
tubes?
decision,
For the tube.
my doctor and I chose a course of surgery that left me virtually unchanged.
Do you think
But more
anyone
important than
told her to
physical
kill herself?
results, I developed
hear
a
that doctors do
strength
that.
and a confidence that I carry with me.
Night one
Probably
throwback.
Dude,
gets
I
told
still-
to
most
kill
difficult
herself
times,
many times a
I
day.
expected to have
Yeah,
the support of
not
my
by
family.
her doctors though.
It's true.
But I
It's got
had more
nothing to do
support
with
than I
cancer.
knew.
It's just
As I came out of
Twitter.
anesthesia, one of the first calls I received was from
She's
Ivanka
going
Trump.
to fucking kill it once
As I
she's out of this
recovered,
administration,
my
though.
phone
I
rang
mean,
again.
like, not many
was
people
President Trump
are going to do
calling
well.
to
I
check
think
on
we're
me.
going to see Kaylee
I
for a
was
long
blown
time.
away. Here was the leader of the free world caring about my
I don't know. I
circumstance.
think a lot of these.
At the
She's
time,
scrappy,
I had
dude.
only met President Trump
Yeah,
on
I think
few
a lot of these
occasions.
get into their 30s and
But
they're
now,
like,
I know
this is
him well,
like such
and I can
bullshit.
tell
I'd
you
rather
that
get out of
this
this.
president stands by Americans with
Yeah, she'll
pre-existing
probably go.
sometimes
She'll
can
go
be
lobby
early.
for a
In fact,
while.
President Trump
Yeah.
called me this morning.
dude,
spoke
I
with
think
him
that she loves
several
it too
times
much.
today,
I
and
think
he
that
told
she
me
like
how
gets
proud
off
he
on
was
the
of
the
me
fire and fury
for
that she can
sharing
bring.
this
I
story.
think that she maybe stick
Oh
around.
yeah,
The
dude,
same
I
way
agree with you
President Trump
completely.
has
I mean,
supported
like I
me,
said, some of
he
those
supports you. I see it every
daily
day.
press conferences.
I've
I mean,
heard him say the
she
hardest part of his job
is spitting
is writing
venom
to loved
Oh,
right
yeah,
at
fallen
those
soldiers.
journalists, dude. Just
Dude, like,
spitting
I've
it.
seen
Imagine
him
her as
offer
like a
heartfelt
anchor
outreach to
on
grieving
Trump
parents who
TV
lost
if
their
he loses.
children
Like
to
she
crime in
would.
the streets.
Honestly, I
But-
think
I've
she's
watched
better than
him
Sarah
fight for
Huckabee
Americans
Sanders.
who
No,
lost
she is
their
for sure.
jobs. President Trump
I don't know, man.
fights for
Maybe
the
Trump was
American
just gonna
people
buy
because
OAN
he
after
cares
this.
about
That's an option
stories
for him.
like these.
And here's the most horrifying
I have a
thing.
9-month-old
dude,
daughter. She's a beautiful,
Huckabee
sweet
was
little
actually
girl,
pretty good as a
and
press
I
secretary.
choose to work for
Yeah.
this president for her.
Did she ever comment on running for
When I look
the
into my
governor of
baby's
Arkansas again?
eyes,
I know she was talking about that for a
I
while.
see a new life, a
Has-
miracle
I never heard
Has
about
Asa
that.
for which
Hutchinson
I have a
said that
solemn
he wasn't going to run
responsibility
again?
to protect.
I don't know. I just know Trump was tweeting at her about how
means
she should run
protecting
for governor.
America's future, a future
I-
President Trump will fight
I
for.
doubt
where our
because
neighborhoods are protected.
I mean Asa
where
Hutchinson's a
life
good
is sacred.
good
where
Arkansas
God
Republican.
is cherished.
Yeah.
Not taken out of our schools, removed from our pledge, and erased from our history. I want my daughter to grow up in President Donald J. Trump's America. Choosing to
Women
have
power.
a preventative mastectomy was the hardest decision I ever had to make.
How dare
But
you?
supporting President Trump, who will protect my daughter and our children's future,
They've been
was the
really
easiest.
beating the taking God out of the country.
I
I
think
mean,
that
so
this-
much so that they tried to get that meme going that like the Democrats didn't say under God in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Is that true?
Good evening.
No, they did
I'm
say
Pence.
it. They did
My
say it.
husband is Vice President
Yeah, but they were all
Pence.
crossing their fingers though.
100
Oh,
years
yeah, I
ago
heard that.
Crossing their
today,
fingers, their
the
eyes, and
19th
their
Amendment
hooven
was
feet.
adopted into
Yeah.
the United States Constitution.
Well, when you have the power of
guaranteeing
Satan
women
behind you, you
the
actually
right
don't
to
even
vote.
need to cross your
Because of
fingers.
heroes
It
like
didn't.
Susan B. Anthony
God
and
just
Lucy
knows.
Stone, women today,
The Democrats
our
were
daughters,
very
Audrey and
much
Charlotte,
were
and
very
future
religious in their
generations will
language
have
as
their
well.
I was
voices
going to
heard
say more
and their
religious than
votes
we've ever
count.
seen them.
The
So
women's
religious,
suffrage
I was
movement
kind of
was the
insulted. I'm
gateway
gonna be honest.
that led
I-
to
well,
women
yeah,
having the
I was
I wanted them to
insulted
go
by the
back
whole
to
night.
like
achieve monumental
20,
milestones
2016,
and accomplish
like
significant achievements
silver
in
suited
both
Hillary
civic
and like this
governmental roles.
chrome stage where they didn't even mention
We
America.
look at heroes
Yep.
in our land.
I would have preferred
As
that.
Second Lady of the United States for the
Yes,
past
we are
3.5
from the
years,
future,
I
and
have
we
had
are
the
the
honor of
allied
meeting many
atheists of
heroes
America,
across
and we
this
know the
great
true
country.
atheism.
The Pences are a military
Do
family.
y'all ever
Our
listen
son
to the
Michael
Federalist
serves in the
Radio
United States
Hour?
Marines,
No.
and our son-in-law Henry
No, that's
The
only
Federalist
serves
is a
in the
pretty
US Navy.
right-wing
And one of my key
publication
initiatives
that,
is to
you know,
elevate
does
and encourage
podcasts and
military
radio and all kinds
spouses.
of other things.
These
I think
men
they
and
make
women,
videos as
like our
well, a
daughter
lot of
Charlotte and our daughter-in-law
policy
Sarah,
and stuff. But anyway,
are the home,
night
volunteer
one
spirit,
was,
and great
and I was like, did we
contributions to the
watch the
armed
same
forces
thing?
and our communities. You know,
Gosh,
military
people are so
spouses may
lame.
experience frequent moves.
It's
and
like, listen,
job
you can
changes,
give Kimberly
periods of being
Guilfoyle
a single
props.
parent
I'm
while their loved
here
one
for
is
that.
deployed.
But saying
All
like the
while
whole
exhibiting
night was some
pride,
amazing
strength,
extravaganza
and
that, you know,
determination,
is going
and
to
being a
go into the
part of
annals of
something bigger
history
than
as the most
themselves.
amazing
To all of the
Republican
military
convention of
spouses,
all time. It's like,
thank
it
you.
wasn't even close.
President
Yeah,
Trump
it's like
and
just
Vice
by
President
virtue
Pence
of
have been
COVID,
supporting our
it
United
makes
States
it
Armed Forces,
worse than almost every
including our
other one you could
military
possibly
families,
imagine
on
on
a
both
significant
sides of
scale.
the aisle.
Oh yeah.
While traveling
Oh
throughout
yeah.
our nation to educate military spouses
Yeah, if
about policy
somebody's getting
solutions
really
that President
fired
Trump
up,
has
I know that
promoted
they're completely
involving real, tangible
ideologically
progress
motivated,
in military
or
spouse
they're
employment.
lying.
I
Yeah.
have been
Pure
inspired
tribalism.
to meet
I mean, there's
heroes
Pure
no real
tribalism.
pomp and
Lisa
circumstances to
Bradley
this. Like it's
and
like the
Cameron
whole point of a
Cruz.
convention is look at all these big
These
lights and
military
balloons. It's like a
spouses
rock
decided to
concert and
start their
then
own
lots of boring
business,
speeches.
Our Riveter,
But I mean,
named
the
after
Dems
the
had
Rosie the
Zoom
Riveter
and
campaign
the
used to recruit
Republicans
women
have
workers
this
during
stage
World
with
War II.
15 American
Our
flags behind
Riveter
someone.
makes
Like it's
beautiful
not.
handbags designed and
It's
manufactured
not
Who
what it
is
should be.
this?
I don't know. They
by
haven't
military
flashed her
They
name
spouses.
haven't
once. I've been
flashed
waiting.
a
Many of
name
those spouses live all
once.
over the
No,
country.
I have no idea who this
They
is.
Everyone at
prepare
C-SPAN
and
is like,
send
who the
their
fuck
section of
is
the
it?
bags to the
They
Who
probably
is
don't
this?
even know.
located in North Carolina.
She's
where
not even
No
the
supposed to be on
American
product
stage.
is
flag pin
assembled.
though, so
Military
minus.
spouse
And
hero
no
Jalon
cross.
Hall Johnson in Billings, Montana,
That's true.
is a culinary
What is
artist
she, some
who
kind
had
of
dreamed of
heretic?
starting her own restaurant.
What are you, some kind of
Working
communist?
with the Small
Blasphemer.
Business Administration's Development Center, Jalon
What are you,
started her
commie? You hate
restaurant,
God and
the
America?
Sassy Biscuit. And
What
she
building are
just
they in
opened
right
a
there?
second restaurant
So
in
I
Dover, New
heard somebody
Hampshire.
say Carnegie
And
Hall,
as the second lady,
which I didn't
I've also
realize
been
there
able to
was
bring
a
awareness
Carnegie
to
in
a
Washington,
form of
D.C.
therapy for our heroic
But then again, Andrew
veterans
Carnegie had
suffering
more
from
money than God
PTSD.
in the mid
Art therapy,
1800s, so
facilitated by a
maybe he
professional
just
art
built holes
therapist,
everywhere.
is especially effective with post-traumatic stress
No,
disorder.
it's in the Andrew
Master
W. Mellon
Gunnery
Auditorium.
Sergeant Chris Stowe, a Marine veteran I met in Tampa,
As in,
deployed for
different
combat in Iraq and Afghanistan,
1800s
said
oligarch.
nothing had
yeah.
happened
Yeah,
to
yeah.
him with the
So
trauma from
Mellon
his
from
service in the
Carnegie Mellon.
Marines until he finally
Right, well,
agreed
yeah, Mellon
to
Bank.
meet with the art therapist at Walter Reed Medical Center. Chris credits art therapy with
I wish
saving
I
his
had
marriage and
fuck
his
you
life.
money to build like
And
giant
Chris went on
pillars
to
like that.
establish a glass blowing workshop to help others.
See,
Yeah,
now they're
dude.
answering us. They know we wanted to know.
Many of our veteran
The
heroes
marble,
struggle
the
as they transition
marble
back into civilian
kind
life,
of
and
old
sometimes
school
the stress is too
building.
difficult
I
to
think we need
manage
to bring
alone.
that back.
A few weeks
Well,
ago,
the problem is
I
our
had the
oligarchs
honor
now won't
of
spend any
speaking
fucking
with
money
some
on shit like
amazing
this.
Americans
Yeah, they have
who
no
answered
they
the
have no
veterans'
interest in
crisis line.
aesthetics. That's really
One
the
in
oligarchs have
particular,
gone down in
Sidney
terms of their
Morgan,
taste.
Yeah.
especially
When
impacted.
was
If-
the last time Bezos did something
A
like this?
veteran
He
herself.
never
Yeah,
did.
they're more
Sydney
interested in
said it is
subversive
the
aesthetics.
highest
They'd be
honor
more
of her
likely to like
life
build a building
until
like
they
this and then
physically
have some
walk into a
weird
clinic to receive
glass
help they
and
deserve,
steel
and she
monstrosity,
can pass their
abstract
hand
art built
to someone
around
ready
it
to help.
as a way to subvert the
In these
traditional
difficult
architecture.
times, we've
Let's
all
make
seen
architecture
so
great
many
again.
examples of everyday Americans reaching out a hand to those
As
in
somebody
need.
as somebody in the
Those
construction
who,
industry,
in
I
humility,
kind of
have
think of
considered others more
buildings
important than themselves.
and
We've seen
architecture in
healthcare
general
workers,
as
teachers,
a
first
as
responders, mental health
like the
providers,
bones of
law
a civilization,
enforcement
in
officers,
that
grocery
after
and
the
I agree
civilization
completely.
is
and
gone
farmers,
and
and
has
so many others.
has the culture has
Heroes
disappeared or evolved
all.
into something different, the
the bones of it remain in the form of
secured the right to
fossils
vote.
or in the form of
So
nice
let's
old buildings.
vote, America.
Well, and here's the
Let's
thing,
honor
right?
our
All of
heroes.
our
Let's reelect
historical
President Trump and
buildings
Vice
in
President
America,
Pence for 4
we're just
more years.
bulldozing
God
over
bless
them.
our heroes, and God
Like we're
bless
not like,
the United States
you know,
of
I
America.
remember just like in Nashville being like, oh man, this great, beautiful, historic building, and then next day I go by it and it's completely been pummeled.
But yeah, they
And
tear them
put up
down
some,
left and right.
you know, they put on some corrugated steel bullshit building, and you're like, why did you do that? This was a great, like, turn of the century. There's your
Kellyanne
Conway.
Kellyanne.
100 years
Do you think she's
ago,
gonna talk about her
courageous
daughter?
warriors
I
helped
very
women
highly
secure the
doubt
right
it.
to vote. This has been a
I think
century
she's
worth
quitting
celebrating,
tomorrow.
but also a reminder that our democracy is young and fragile.
What if she resigns
A woman in
in
a
this
leadership
speech?
role can still seem novel.
What does
The-
White
so for
House
President Trump.
counselor
For
mean?
decades, he has elevated women
Does
to
she do
senior
mental health
positions in
sessions
business
with all the
and in
staff?
government. He confides in and consults us, respects our opinions.
She's just a conservative
and
person, and they
insists
all
that we
get
are
slots
on
in the
equal
White House if
footing
you're
with
nice
the
enough.
men. President Trump helped me shatter a barrier in the world of politics by empowering me to manage his campaign to its successful conclusion. With the help of millions of Americans,
Nice.
That is true.
our team defied the critics, the naysayers, the conventional wisdom.
She was
and
on the
we
Trump
won.
train from the
For many
very
of us,
beginning, pretty
women's
much, right?
empowerment is not a slogan.
Yeah, no,
It
she
comes not from
definitely
strangers
was.
on
I
social
think.
media
Using,
or
I think,
sanitized language in a corporate handbook.
I actually don't know
It
that
comes
for
from the
sure.
everyday heroes.
Have
who
we
nurture
mentioned their
us,
family
who
drama on the
shape
show
us,
previously? I can't
and who
remember.
believe in us.
We did a
Okay.
couple
I
days
was
ago.
raised in a household of all women.
Well, if you haven't
They
listened to
were
that episode,
self-reliant and
Kellyanne Conway
resilient.
and George Conway's
Their
daughter
lives were not
was just like
easy,
lighting them up on
but they
Twitter,
never
and now they're both
complained.
quitting their jobs and
Money was
focusing on their
tight,
marriage to try and not get
But we
divorced.
had an abundance of what
Now
mattered
they're
most.
sending that little
Family,
brat to
faith,
boarding school.
and freedom.
Yeah,
As
centered
she
in
tries to,
Switzerland.
Learned that in
yeah.
America,
She's trying to
living
fucking
in means
emancipate, dude.
does not make for limited dreams. The promise of America belongs
Nice.
to us all. This is a land of
Low
inventors and
energy,
innovators,
Kellyanne.
of entrepreneurs and
She looks like she's
educators,
falling asleep.
of pioneers and parents, each
She
contributing
only did
to
a
the
little bit of
success
coke.
and the future.
I think she might have
Of a
popped the
great
Xanny with a
nation.
glass
I was
of
gonna say
Chardonnay.
she did Xanax or
These
Prozac.
everyday heroes.
I think she's
have a
having such a bad
champion
time
in
right now. She
President
might be on
Trump.
downers.
The
I mean,
teacher
look how
who
her
took
arms
extra
are
time to help
bored to her
students adjust
side.
to months of virtual learning.
It's like she's
The
doing
nurse
a
who
pencil
finished
dive
a
in the
12-hour
deep end.
COVID shift and then took
Beautiful
a brief
posture,
break,
though.
Great
only to change her
posture.
mask,
Great
gown, and
Dude,
gloves.
her
to do
head
it
is the
all
only
over
thing that's
again.
moving.
Do you think
The
she
small business
uses one
owner,
of those little
striving to
square
reopen after
vibrators
the
on the
lockdown was
back
lifted,
that
and
buzzes
then
you every
again
time your
after her store was
posture goes bad?
vandalized and looted.
I've
The
never heard
single
of
mom
those, but I
with
could
2
probably
kids,
use one.
2 jobs,
I've seen
2
ads for them.
commutes,
She probably
who
does.
10 years after that empty promise finally has health insurance. President Trump and Vice President Pence have lifted Americans.
Why would you
provided them with
ever bring up
dignity,
health insurance
opportunity,
as a
and
Republican?
results.
Terrible,
I have
terrible,
seen
terrible idea.
firsthand
They also brought up
many
pre-existing
times
conditions earlier,
the
which
president
Trump is trying
comforting
to
and encouraging
eviscerate that
a
law.
child who has lost a parent, a parent
I was like, you're bringing up
who has
all the
lost a
wrong notes,
child,
buddy.
a worker who lost his job, an adolescent who lost her way to drugs. Don't lose hope.
I don't
he
like
has
her
told
cadence.
them,
It's making me feel
assuring
weird.
them that they are not alone.
I lost my way
and
to
that they
drugs because
matter.
my guy moved out of town.
There always will be people
Anyone's
who
got a
are more
plug.
than us.
Your Coke
Our
leaf guy?
responsibility is to focus
Yeah,
on those
he actually got
who
moved
have
to a
far
different
less than
job,
us.
so I don't have any source
President
of
Trump has done
cocaine
precisely
anymore.
that.
Got
in taking
deported back to
unprecedented
Colombia.
action to combat this nation's drug crisis.
He was actually Sicilian.
He told me, "This is so important,
Of
Kellyanne.
course he was.
So many lives have been ruined by addiction.
Of course he
and will
was.
never
We
be
don't get
healed
enough
because people are
anti-Italian
ashamed to reach out for
slurs anymore.
not
So
even
maybe
sure who
that
to turn
could be a
to
thing
in
we
their
bring back
toughest
on the
hour.
podcast.
Well, to be clear, I said
Rather than looking the
Sicilian,
other
not
way,
Italian. So
President Trump stared directly at this drug crisis
Yeah, I was
next
going to
door.
say, I think
Italy.
actually
And through
most
landmark
Sicilians
bipartisan
would not
legislation,
say
has
they
helped
were
secure
Italian.
historic investments
and most
in
Italians would not
surveillance,
say that they're
interdiction,
Sicilian.
Well,
education,
They'd
prevention,
agree with them.
100%.
treatment, and recovery.
Well, there's a lot
We
of
have a
Turkish
long way to
blood
go.
in Sicily.
But the
Yeah, there's
political
a lot of.
inertia
I
that
just
costs
call
lives
them Moorish.
and the silence and the stigma that prevents people in need from coming forward is
A lot of
melting away.
Moorish blood in
This is
Sicily.
the man I know.
You ever go to Palermo
president
in
we
the
need
summer? It's
for
like,
4 more
am I
years.
in Istanbul?
He picks the toughest fights and
It
tackles
is
the most complex
quintessentially
problems.
Mediterranean.
He has stood by me, and he will stand up for you.
now I quit.
In honor of the women who empowered
Yeah,
me
exactly.
and for the future of the children
And I'm
we all
jumping ship
cherish.
now,
Thank
bitches.
you.
He stood
God
by
bless
me,
you
but I'm
always.
leaving my position.
Ooh, what a weird smile.
It's like she
That's the
couldn't even.
Prozac, dude. That's
She
the
couldn't make a
Prozac.
full smile. It was like half her face smile.
That's the
Dude.
Prozac.
Yeah, she's on downers. Oh, I've heard about this nun.
Good evening.
Oh, dude,
I'm Sister
Mussolini
Dee
nun.
Karen, and I belong to the community of the Little Workers of the Sacred Heart.
Sound went away.
You lost
Little
sound.
Workers of the Sacred Hearts. What?
Little Workers of the Sacred Heart.
That's
yeah,
what
the,
they
God to allow me
named
to be a
the
voice
Catholic
and
Church really
instrument for
needs to
human
work
life.
on their branding.
Can you hear?
And now here I am,
Yeah.
speaking at the Republican National Convention.
Oh, and a
I
retired
guess you better be
U.S.
careful for
Army
what you
colonel.
pray
Okay, badass.
My
And
journey
she's
to
a
religious
doctor.
life was not a traditional route, if there is such a thing.
Jesus.
I was gonna say, I feel like
In
it's strange for a
1978,
nun
as a
to
medical
be
school
endorsing
student
someone
at
at a
Georgetown
convention.
University, I joined the Army to help pay for my tuition and ended up devoting 29 years to the military, serving as a doctor and a surgeon in places like Afghanistan and Egypt.
I've killed many a man.
Peninsula.
Oh, so she's that
After
crusader
much
type of
prayer and
Catholic.
contemplation, I entered
yeah.
my religious
We
order in
need more of those
2002,
crusaders, man. A little
working
Templar
to serve
night
the poor
action.
and the sick in Haiti, Sudan, Kenya, Iraq, and in Washington, D.C. Humility is at the foundation
Who
of
were
our
the,
order, which makes it
Maltese
very
Knights?
difficult to talk about myself.
I think that's
But I
it.
can speak
or Knights
about
of
my
Malta or
experience
something.
working for those fleeing war-torn
Is
and
it the
impoverished countries
Hospitallers?
all around the world.
Oh yes, the Knights
Those refugees
Hospitalier.
all share a common
Hospitalier.
Yeah,
experience.
something like that.
They have been
Yeah,
all
something like that.
marginalized, viewed as insignificant.
We need to go down
powerless
that
and
rabbit
voiceless.
hole some point.
And while we tend to think of the marginalized as living beyond
Knights
our
Templar?
borders, the truth is,
Oh yeah, dude,
the
all of
largest
them, man.
marginalized group in the world can be found here in the United
I mean,
States.
just anyone who was going
They
to
are the
Jerusalem
unborn.
and had a secret
As
society.
Christians, we first
City of
met
Knights.
Jesus as a stirring embryo in the womb of
They
an
found
unwed
some
mother
fucked up
and saw
stuff.
him born
I can
9 months
guarantee it.
later in the poverty of the cave.
They
It's
just don't
no
make secret
coincidence that
societies
Jesus
like they
stood up
used to,
for what
man.
was just and was ultimately
Well,
crucified.
and you know, and the
because what he
Catholic
said
Church
wasn't
really is
politically
like the
correct or
ultimate
fashionable.
secret society. The
As
one of
followers
my
of Christ, we
dreams
are
has
called to
always
stand
been
up for life
to go
against
to
the
the
politically
restricted
correct
part
or
of the Vatican
fashionable of
Library.
today. We must fight
The
against a
knowledge
legislative
there has
agenda
got to be
that
incredible.
supports and even
Dude, there's got to be
celebrates
some
destroying life in the
amazing
womb.
like
Keep in
history
mind,
that
the
they've
laws
squashed.
we create define
Oh,
how we
completely
see our
squashed.
humanity.
Yeah.
And we
I mean, I
must
think
ask
just
ourselves,
like early
what are we
works of
saying when we go
Christianity
into a womb
that were
Oh,
and
yeah.
never,
snuff
that
out an
haven't been
innocent,
allowed to see the light
powerless,
of day.
voiceless life?
Light of day.
Mhm.
So,
As a
so
physician, I
that,
can say
that
without
kind of brings up a
hesitation,
question that I've
life
always
begins
wondered.
at
Like, if you
conception.
were an elite
While
society,
what I have
kind
to
of
say
secret
may be
society,
difficult for some to hear,
who
I'm
this
saying
could be
it
the
because
Catholic
I'm
Church
not
or the
just
Illuminati or
pro-life.
whatever,
I'm
and you
pro-eternal
and
life,
you
I want
know
all of us to
like
end up in
a
heaven together someday.
true history of the world
brings me to
versus
why
like
I'm
the
here today.
history that's commonly
Donald
propagated.
Trump is the most
That
pro-life
the
president
method
that this
of
nation has ever
transferring
had,
that
defending
knowledge
life
of
at all
true
stages.
history has
I
to be
believe in the
that's like a
sanctity of life
difficult
transcends
institution to
politics.
maintain, I would imagine.
President Trump will stand up
Well,
against
I
Biden
don't
and Harris,
even
who
think
are the
that
most
it's
anti-life
so
presidential ticket ever. Even
profound
supporting
as
the horrors of
that,
late-term
if that makes
abortion and
sense.
infanticide.
It's a
Because of his
there's
courage and
only
conviction,
so
President
many,
Trump has earned the support of America's
fathers
pro-life
and priests and
Moreover,
cardinals
he has a
that would
nationwide of
even care to
religious
go
leaders
through
behind
all
him.
that stuff.
You'll find us
Right?
here
It's
True.
almost
President's
probably
Choice,
the,
Rosary.
it's the
Thank you, Mr.
curators
President. We are all
who
praying
would
for
go,
you.
your librarian, essentially. This sister mother, whatever her name was, doesn't give a shit about the ancient history of, early Christianity and why it's all a lie.
So your thought is that these secret elite institutions, most people don't actually have the esoteric knowledge.
Oh, no.
But
I highly doubt it. It's like in Scientology where you have to be a Thetan level, 6,000 to find out that it's all aliens and, nukes and B-57s, right?
Go get an education. Get to work. You can
Lou Holtz, baby.
Lou Holtz.
And always remember,
University of Arkansas and Notre Dame coach, baby. Woo Pig Suey.
Special. I live by those principles of hard work and responsibility my whole life. Living out the
speech
American
impediments
story.
are not okay to make fun of.
Works. But there are
Did you learn nothing from the DNC?
Politicians, professors, protesters, and
I
of
think he's
course,
just really
President
old.
Trump's naysayers.
Maybe he
in
should
the
run for
media
president.
Who like to blame others for problems.
He's got a weird lip
They
thing
don't
that
have pride
makes
in our
too much
country.
moisture
and
or
because
something.
they no longer ask, what can I do for my country? Only what the country should be doing for them. They don't have pride in themselves. That's wrong. When I was an officer in the
That's
Army,
wrong.
I served with so many great Americans.
You know what,
who
though,
embrace
dude?
the
We've,
responsibilities of our
since
country.
JFK, we've been
I'm so
asking
proud
what we
of
can do
their
for our country. I
sacrifices
want to know what my
and the
country's going to do for me
opportunities
now.
provided for
Yeah,
so
I think that's
many
fair.
millions.
Yeah, money.
Yeah.
America remains a
Money
land
me,
of opportunity.
bitches.
No matter what
I mean,
the other
who
side says
benefits off
or
of us
believes.
focusing on what we can do for our country? It's the
there's a
people at the fucking
statue
top. If he
up
doesn't
at
give
Notre
back
Dame.
for 50
guess they needed
years,
a place
there's
for
a
the
point
pigeons to
when,
land.
like, we're just in an
But if you
abusive
look
relationship
closely,
with America,
you'll see
Yeah, it's
these
like
three
don't
words
think
there.
about what your
Trust,
employer can
commitment,
do for
and
you.
love.
Think about what you can
All
do
my
for the
life,
company.
Right.
made
Oh,
my choices
100%.
based
It's
on
like
these three
your roads are
words. I
shitty
use
and
these
your
three rules to
healthcare
make
is
choices
shitty
about
and your
everything.
education is
My
shitty
beloved
and
wife
your,
of 59
your
years.
local government is
Athletes I
shitty
coach.
and you
And
got
of
way
course,
high property
politicians,
taxes and
even
sales
President
taxes.
Trump.
But,
I
keep
ask
on giving.
myself three things.
Just
Keep giving.
One,
Yeah,
can I
if
trust
you
them?
stop giving, it's
When a
because
leader tells you something,
there's a flaw
you
in your
gotta be able to count
patriotism.
on it.
You
That's
are not
President Trump. He
spiritually
says what he means,
inclined
he
enough
means
towards
what
the
he
great
says.
nation.
And he's done what he said he would
100%.
do.
And it's the
And
same
everything
gaslighting, like
returns.
John said, that
One of the
corporations do,
important
where you
reasons he
bust
has
your ass
my
for your
trust
company and you're like,
is
hey,
because
can I get this
nobody
tiny little
has
thing
been
that
a
I
stronger
definitely
advocate
deserve?
for the unborn
And then you're a
than
selfish piece of
President
shit
Trump.
for asking.
The Biden-Harris ticket
You
is the
always
most
give,
radically
you give,
pro-abortion
and to
campaign
benefit the
in
people at the
history.
top, and then whenever you
They and
ask for
other
a crumb,
politicians
you get kicked in
are
the fucking neck.
Catholics
It's
in
the
name
same
only
reason why, like,
and
the
abandon
average
innocent
tenure
lives.
of an employee
President
these days
Trump
is 2 years.
protects those lives. I trust
No one
President
gives a
Trump.
fuck
The second
about
question
their
I
job.
ask is, are they committed to doing
I'm not going
their
to stick
very
around.
best?
I'm not a company
President
man.
Trump
No,
always finds
doesn't
I'm
a
going to
take care
go
of you.
on to the
something
next,
done.
the
If you want to
next
do something
shiny
bad enough,
idea, and that's
you'll
just kind of
find a
like
way.
American
If
society
not,
as a whole
you'll
now.
find an excuse.
There's
Let's go to
no
the
there's
next
no
thing.
pensions.
Are a
There's no
lot
fucking
easier to
pensions. There's no
find
reason to
than
stay.
solutions.
If you want to
President
get
Trump finds
a
solutions.
promotion, or if you want to
President
get a
Trump
raise, you
is
have to leave
committed.
your current company.
And the third question
Yeah.
I ask,
Because your current
is do
company
they
ain't going to give
love
it to you. Because they're
people?
going to say, hey,
Do
we
they
got him at
care
this
about others?
rate. Why would we bump
to
it
me,
up?
this is very
You'll stay
clear.
with it.
Well, and
President Trump
to
has
go even
demonstrated
deeper, why is
through
that?
his
It's
prison
because
reform, advocating for
American
school
labor
choice
is
and
no
welfare
longer
reform.
competitive. Like
And he wants
when you
Americans
got
from all walks of life to have the opportunity to
labor
succeed
markets around the
and
world
live
that
the
could be doing
American
that
dream.
work instead of
President
Americans,
Trump
then
loves
why
our
would you
country and our
provide so
great
many
people.
benefits to Americans?
Trust,
Like as from a
commitment,
business
and
perspective,
love.
Yeah.
you wouldn't.
And President
You
Trump,
can
we have a
get
president
10
we can
ties
trust,
to
who
do the
works
same
hard at
job
making
as
America
one
greater,
American.
and who genuinely cares
Or for
about
that
people.
matter, this is sort of
If I
the
apply this
labor
test to
argument
Joe
against
Biden, I can't say
immigration
yes
at the level that
to
we
any
have
of
it,
these three questions.
is we
I used
have
to
a
ask our
constant
athletes at Notre
stream
Dame,
of
If you did not show up,
labor
who
coming
would
into this
miss you
country
and why?
at
Can you
low
imagine
skill
what would
levels
happen
and
to
at
us
high skill levels.
if
Like
President
in
Trump
the
had not shown
tech
up in
industry,
2016
so
to
many
run for
Americans
I'm
are
so
unable
glad he
to
showed up.
compete with
Thank you
the
for showing up,
the
Mr.
low
President.
salaries that are
I
accepted
encourage
by
everyone who loves
H-1B
this country,
visa
who loves
recipients.
America,
Right.
to show
Like
up in
it completely
November
drives down
for
salaries
President
and makes
Trump.
it less of a
Thank
viable
you.
career path for people.
Well, and then the other major issue too is that what is a CEO's job?
Hi.
It's to increase value
I'm
for
Michael McHale,
shareholders.
but my
And how do
friends
you
call
do
me
that? You
Mick.
make more money per
I'm a
share.
30-year active
And
duty
driving
member of law
down wages
enforcement in
and
the
driving
state of
down
Florida.
benefits helps you fucking do
I am
that.
also the president of the
Yeah.
National
Well, and not only that
Association
is
of Police
you increase
Organizations,
your share price
NAPO.
for the
Our
tenure that you
organization
are
recently
the
endorsed
CEO,
Donald Trump
not
for
and
re-election
not
as
beyond
President of the
necessarily.
United States.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what happens
Our
after you
endorsement
leave. It matters what
recognized
happens during your,
his
5 to
strong
10 years there.
for the men and
Right,
women
which
Not
lends
about
itself
long- yeah.
lends itself
particularly
towards
during these
short-term
challenging
thinking, or at
times.
least shorter-term
We
thinking.
value his
Dude, I see that shit every day.
of
It's not
aggressive
longevity.
federal
It's the next quarter
prosecution
is all that
of
matters.
those who attack
Which brings
our
me back
police
to
officers.
monarchy, because that's why presidents are worse.
Mental health and
That's why
wellness
presidents are worse
and
than
his
kings,
support
because presidents
for
only care what
permanently
happens during their
authorizing
tenure.
funds
I,
Kings-
yeah.
Kings have to
9/11
live with
first
it and pass it
responders,
down to
Their
their
whole
progeny.
lives,
They
right?
think legacy.
Law enforcement officers across
All right,
the
Their
let's
whole
hear
lives
with
and the
this,
lives of their
to run
children and
towards
grandchildren,
danger
ideally.
when everyone
John,
else
you
is
could
running
rock
away.
the Michael
They do
McHale.
so willingly to protect our
My
families
hair?
and
Yeah.
communities.
Dude, honestly, I'm looking at it, and I think
proud
his hair is
that
better
the
than mine.
overwhelming majority of American police officers
All right, let's
are the
hear what
best
this
of
cop
the
has
best
to say.
and put their lives on the line without hesitation. And good officers need to
He's
know
talking about police
their elected
officers.
leaders
I'm curious if
and
he's
the
going to mention
department brass
Wisconsin
have
at
their
all.
backs.
The National Association
Unfortunately,
of Police
chaos
Organizations
results
president.
when
Michael
failed
McHale.
officials in cities like Portland, Minneapolis, Chicago, and New York make the
Hey, I'm gonna go run and
conscious
grab something
decision
from the
not to support law
corner store
enforcement.
really quick. I'll be right back.
Shootings, murders, looting, and rioting occur.
Hey,
on a
we
daily.
going to talk about y'all
The
shooting a guy
violence
7
and
times in the
bloodshed
back,
we
buddy?
are seeing in these and other cities isn't happening by chance.
Now they're going to talk about the
It's
riots.
the direct result of
That's
refusing
really what
to
matters,
allow
Paul.
That's really
law
what matters.
enforcement
Are we going to talk
protect
about
our
the
communities.
white militia kid that
Joe Biden
murdered 2 people last
has
night in
turned his
Wisconsin?
candidacy over to
No,
the
because
far
the
left,
police force
anti-law
actually,
enforcement radicals.
I believe,
And
was
as a
like helping him
senator,
out.
Kamala
Yeah, they were
Harris
giving him water
pushed
and shit,
to
man.
further restrict police.
I think they
cut
really
their training,
appreciated the
and make
Boogaloo
our
Boys being
American
there in
communities
old
and
Wisconsin.
streets
They
even
are
more
literally on
dangerous than they
tape
already
saying like,
are.
hey, you're doing a
Conversely,
great job. Here's some
President
water.
Trump
They were tossing them water. They like
supports
handed the
creation
militia
of a
kid that murdered 2
national
people water,
standard for training on
and then went and tear
de-escalation
gassed a bunch of
and
protesters.
communication
And then that kid
to
went and
give
murdered 2 people.
officers more tools to resolve conflict without violence.
That's not what's
The differences
important.
between
What's important
Trump,
is that
Pence,
some windows got broken
and
not the
Biden
loss of
Harris
blood.
are crystal
You know,
clear.
all caps law and
Your
order,
choices
dude. That's what matters.
Are the most
All caps.
pro-law enforcement president we've ever
If
had.
the cops murder you, you shouldn't have
or
been there, right?
The most radical anti-police ticket in history. We invite those
And this
who
is what
value
pisses
the
me off
safety
too,
of
is
their
that nothing
family
about Biden's
and loved
platform
ones
is
to
anti-police,
join the
and I wish it
hundreds of
was.
Thousands of members of the National Association
I was going to
of
say, you
Police
know, I mean,
Organizations and
if you
support
look
the
really,
re-election of
Biden has
President
done
Donald
more for
J.
police
Trump.
officers than
Thank you,
Donald Trump has ever
and God bless
done in
America.
his whole entire life.
No, it's true. I mean, all he's ever done is supported the police and expanded police power. I mean,
Joe Biden has militarized the police force.
his current platform is all about giving police more money. He's trying to expand
I'm
them.
Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, and I am honored to represent New York's 21st Congressional District, the cradle of the
Who
American
elected this
Revolution. It's where almost
New Yorkers.
250
Dude,
years
she-
ago, brave
I'm not
patriots
digging her
fought in the
vibe.
battles of Saratoga to turn the tide of the
generally
Revolutionary
here at
War.
Real Politique,
It's where
we hate
40
all
years
New
ago
Yorkers,
in Lake
right?
Placid,
That's-
a team of
that-
amateur
honestly, that's
hockey
probably what it
players
is.
There's a
out-hustled,
small section of
outskated, and
upstate
defeated the
people that
Soviet
we can,
Union, stunning the world and
tolerate
giving
for a
us the
small amount of time,
unforgettable
but
miracle on ice.
Coastal
And
elite,
today,
dude.
it's home to Fort Drum and the historic 10th Mountain
The
Division,
entire
most
state.
deployed unit in the U.S. Army since 9/11, where I saw
Cut it out,
firsthand
dude. Get it
President
out of the
Trump
union.
graciously thank and honor our men and women in uniform and sign the largest pay raise for our troops in a decade. Since our nation's
Sons and
founding,
daughters of
generation
Alexander
after
Hamilton,
generation
dude. That's
of
all
everyday
I hear.
Americans served and sacrificed to preserve and strengthen
Their
the American
federalist
dream.
government
The vision of
bullshit,
life,
their
liberty,
central
and the
banks.
pursuit of happiness, and the idea that if you work hard and dream big,
Lin-Manuel
you can
Miranda
achieve
did more
anything
for
you imagine.
Hamilton
I
than
believe in the
just
American
about anyone
dream
else in
because I've lived it.
U.S. history.
Like millions of
No,
Americans,
I don't think
Hamilton really
I grew
was a
up
piece
in a
of
small
shit.
business family
Yeah, he
where
wasn't
I
the
learned
best
the values of
as a
hard
human,
work and determination.
but
I was the first
I mean,
person
he's
in my
so
immediate
cool
family
now,
to graduate
right?
from college, ran for Congress to serve
Yeah, the
upstate
coolest.
New York,
The coolest.
He's
and
the-
am proudly
he's the coolest founding
youngest
father.
Republican woman elected to Congress in history. I am honored to support President Trump for re-election
I want a
because
John
I know
Adams
that he is the
rap
only candidate who will stand up for
musical.
hardworking families and protect the American
'Cause it would be
dream
so
for
boring.
future generations. Since
like,
his first
what's
day in
gonna be in
office,
that?
President Trump has fought tirelessly to deliver results
Just
for
like a
all
chubby
Americans,
white
despite the
guy that's like,
Democrats'
everyone's always
baseless
making
and
fun of me.
illegal
And
impeachment
now I'm gonna
Hard
rap
beat.
and
about
the
it.
media's endless obsession with it. I was
I would
proud
not
to lead
listen
the
to
effort
that.
standing up for the
I
Constitution,
had one of the
President Trump, and most
Can't
importantly,
even
the
say it.
American people.
I had one of the
This attack was
smallest
not
net
just on
worths
the
on the
president.
Founding
It was an
Fathers
attack
Committee.
on you, your voice, and your vote.
You know what would be a lit
But the American people were
musical
not
though?
swayed by
Would
these
be
partisan
Thomas
attacks.
Jefferson.
Our support for President
I
Trump
mean,
is stronger than
Jefferson
ever before.
gets quite a bit of love
We know
in,
what's at stake
in
in this
Hamilton,
historic
so,
election.
I mean,
Americans from all walks
I want
of life are
Lin-Manuel to
unified
do
in
a
support of our
Thomas
president.
Jefferson to France
It's why
years
more Republican
musical
women than
follow-up
ever
to
are
Hamilton.
running
nah,
for
dude,
office
Ben
this
Franklin,
year.
the
We
French
understand
years.
that this
Huh?
election
That's
is a
pretty good, too.
choice between the far left
No,
That guy was
democratic socialist
smoking
Wearing a
smoke.
versus
coonskin
protecting
cap
and
into the
preserving the
court of
American dream.
Versailles, dude.
President
That's
Trump
American
is working
as
to
fuck.
safely
That's a
reopen
bro.
our Main Street economy. He understands that the engine of our country
You know who
is
wouldn't
fueled
wear a
by the
coonskin
ingenuity
hat
and
into Versailles?
determination of American
Elise
workers,
Stefanik.
entrepreneurs, and small
Or however you
businesses.
say your stupid New
Joe
York
Biden
name.
wants to keep them locked up in the
God.
basement and crush them
Stefanik.
with $4
I
trillion
thought
in new
COVID got rid of your
taxes.
state. I didn't know that they were still
We
around.
face a critical choice. Joe Biden's
that too
far-left
soon?
failed policies of the past
soon.
47
Too soon.
years,
Oh, my bad.
Can't make
All
or
right,
President
I
Trump, who
retract
will
that
stand
joke.
up for the American people
just hate New
and
York.
the Constitution. I believe in the wisdom and spirit of the American people to elect the only candidate who is capable of protecting the American dream, President Donald J. Trump.
Kind of
Thank
another
you to the
low
North
energy
Country for
night
the
out of the
opportunity to serve as
Republicans.
your voice,
Honestly, it's-
supporting his re-election.
It's pretty
God
disappointing.
bless the United States of America, the greatest country on earth.
Are we?
That was
We're only 30 minutes in. Good God, dude. What the
that was the
fuck?
most like mayo milk toast on white bread speech.
milk
we've had
toast.
so far.
Milk toast with mayo.
I feel like I'm falling asleep.
I'm Madison Cawthorn, and I'm running to represent North Carolina's
shit.
11th congressional
Oh, this
district.
dude's in a wheelchair.
This is a time of great adversity for our country, and I know something about adversity.
Dude, this is a
At 18
Chad
years
right
old,
here.
I was in a horrific car accident that's left me paralyzed from the
total Chad.
waist down. Instantly, my hopes and dreams were seemingly
I don't think I
destroyed.
know about this
I was
guy.
given a 1%
haven't heard about
chance
him.
of surviving. But thanks to the power of prayer, a very loving community, and many skilled doctors, I made it. It took me over a year to recover. My first public outing in a wheelchair was to a
Yeah,
professional
prayer was the
baseball game.
first thing on that list.
You know,
though,
before
right?
my accident,
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
6'3".
prayers what
I
saved
stood
him.
out in the crowd.
And then the
But
community
as I
and then
wheeled
the
through the
doctors.
stadium,
That sounds like the right fucking
The,
order.
the last thing was
I thought
the
about
doctors.
giving up.
Doctors
However,
were a footnote.
I knew
I guess the
could
doctors
still
did something
make a
too.
difference. You know,
Whatever.
my accident has given me new eyes to see and new ears to hear. God
They're kinda
protected my
scientists,
mind
though,
and
and
my
fuck
ability to
science.
speak. So
That's true.
I say to people who feel forgotten, ignored, and invisible, I see you. I hear you.
Do you, Chad?
At 20, I made a choice. In 2020, our country has a choice. We can give up on the American idea, or we can work together to make our imperfect union more perfect. I choose to fight for the future.
What
to
is
seize
the
the high
American
ground and
Freedom
retake the
Caucus?
shining city on a hill.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
While the radical left wants to dismantle,
What
defund, and
is
destroy,
the American ideal, though,
Republicans,
of
under
the
President
right?
Trump's
I'm
leadership,
actually
want to
kind of having a
rebuild,
hard time nailing it down for these
restore, and
speeches.
renew. I just turned 25. When I'm
A
elected this
nation
November, I'll be
for
the
white
youngest member
people,
of
I
Congress
think.
in over
Okay.
200 years.
It's only
And
25.
if you don't
What
think
the
young people can
fuck?
change the world, then you just don't know American history.
It's kind of
George
impressive, though.
Washington was 21 when he received his first military commission. Abe Lincoln, 22 when he first ran for office. And my personal favorite, James Madison, was just 25 years old when he signed the Declaration of Independence.
James Madison is your favorite?
In times of peril, young people have stepped up and saved this country, abroad and at home.
Is that why that's his favorite?
He held the line,
Probably.
scaled the cliffs,
It's probably named
crossed
after
oceans,
Madison.
liberated camps, and cracked
James Madison
codes.
wasn't actually like that
Yet
cool
today,
of a politician.
political forces want to usher
He's like a super
in
smart
the
guy,
digital
but he's very
dark ages.
meek.
A time of information without wisdom, and tribalism without
I've always
truth.
considered myself more of a
National
Monroe
leaders on the left
fan,
have
to be
normalized
honest.
emotion-based voting, and a radicalized identity politics that rejects Martin Luther King's dream.
But that's because my real first name is
MLK's dream is
Monroe,
our
so.
dream.
Whoa, he just
For
said the
all
Democrats
Americans to
reject
be
Martin
judged
Luther
solely on their
King.
character. Millions of
You're
people
a
risk their
twat,
lives every
dude.
year to come
Dude,
here because
you
they
know,
believe
he's not
in the
he's
dream
not
of MLK
wrong,
and
though.
the American dream.
I don't like
think,
this.
As we, the party of
especially
freedom,
on the
double
woke
down on
left, I
ensuring
don't
the American
think
dream for
Martin
all
Luther
people.
would
We are committed to building a new
recognize
town square.
some of the
It welcomes all ideas
some
and
of the
all
drum
people.
beats that
Here
they've
we will
been
have
beating.
freedom of speech.
I
not
just don't
freedom
like this
from
Chad
speech.
saying that he knows what MLK
To
wanted.
liberals.
Oh
I say
yeah,
let's
I mean
have a
he has no
conversation.
fucking idea,
Be
but
a true liberal.
at the
Listen
same
to
time,
other
he's not,
ideas
he's
and
not
let the best ones
that
prevail.
wrong.
And to conservatives, I say let's define what we support and win the argument in areas like healthcare and on the
Speaking of which,
environment.
we'll be discussing that a little bit next
this
week
new
on
town
our
square, you
back
don't
to
have to
regular
apologize for your
scheduled
beliefs.
programming, right?
Cower to a mob.
We will
You
indeed.
can kneel before God.
Thanks
but
for
stand
everyone
for our
sticking
flag.
with us too through the
American
live
idea,
streams. I
my
know it's been a
ancestors
little
fought for during the
tedious.
Revolutionary War,
I hope we've been funny
is
enough.
just as exciting and revolutionary today
is he about to
as
stand?
it was 200
He's about to
years
stand
ago.
up. He just
I
got.
say to Americans who love our country,
They brought out a
young and
walker
old,
for him. He's in a
be a
wheelchair
radical
right
for
now
freedom.
with his legs strapped
be
in.
a radical for liberty.
And he's got.
Be a radical for our republic.
Oh, this is strange.
For which I stand, one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and may God bless America.
Yeah, then he had a Trevor.
To be
and
fair,
Ryan
dude, Republicans are aroused right now, dude.
Oh, they're loving it.
They're loving it.
Look at this.
That's Jefferson, right?
I'm Jack Brewer, a former three-time
Who's this?
NFL team captain,
Dude,
college
they're
professor,
running
coach,
with the black
husband,
NFL players.
son, and father. I'm also a lifelong Democrat, but I support Donald Trump. Let me be clear.
I feel like we already did this
I didn't
one.
come here for the popularity or the praise,
Well,
the likes or the retweets.
It does
I'm here as a
kind of
servant
make
to God,
sense though a little
a
bit,
servant to the
right?
people
Because
of our
there's
nation,
that's been
and
such
a
a
servant
big
to our
part of
president.
the culture war.
I grew up in
is
Grapevine,
what's
Texas,
been going on
a
with the
town that my
NFL.
great-grandfather was
Yeah.
the first black
I mean,
man
it's
to
kind of
serve
insane to
as
think
a
about that the
sharecropper
NFL
in
has been like one of the
1896.
big
My
culture
early high school
war,
experience included fighting with skinheads,
you know,
and being
points
a
of
witness in an
battle.
attempted murder trial after my friend shot a skinhead in self-defense. I remember my dad's bravery when he personally stood up against a KKK rally in my town. In my house, my father taught me to back down from no one. I know what racism looks like. I've seen it firsthand. In America, it has no resemblance to President Trump. And I'm
This is the
fed
exact
up
same
with the
line
way
that the
he's
other
portrayed
guy
in the
used.
media, who refuse to acknowledge what he's actually done for the black community. It's confusing the
dude.
minds of our innocent
the media.
children. Before I left to come deliver this message, my energetic 8-year-old son Jackson stopped me and said,
Interesting
"Dad,
line.
can you please just tell everyone that all lives need to matter and that God loves everyone?" In that moment, I realized that my 8-year-old had figured out what so many adults have seemed to forget. We are not as divided as our politics
Dude,
suggest.
I hate when people fucking
At some
bring
point,
up the,
for the
like,
sake of our
my
children,
4-year-old
the
looked
policies
at
must
me
take
and he said,
priority
Daddy,
over the
why is
personality.
the president so mean? I'm like, I don't fucking care what your fucking 4-year-old said.
Trump's tone.
Well,
You're
dude,
going
the
to allow
Democrats
Biden
did
and
it the
Harris
whole
to
fucking
deny
convention on
our
their side.
underserved blacks
I know, that's what I
and
mean.
brown
How
That's
many
why I just
kids did they bring
Are we
up?
so offended
I
by
know.
the president's
It's just,
campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again," that we're
Like,
going
if you
to ignore
can't
that
vote,
Joe Biden and Kamala
I
Harris
don't
have
want to
collectively
see
been
you at a
responsible for
convention.
locking up countless
No.
black men for nonviolent crimes.
well, it's the same thing with
Are you going
You
to allow
can't be a
voters to lie to
delegate.
you
You
by
can't
falsely
be, you
claiming
know what I mean?
that he
It's like,
said
oh, you
there
put
were
it,
very
you
fine
can't be an
white
elector.
supremacists
You
in
can't be in
Charlottesville? He didn't say that. It's a
electoral
lie.
college.
And ignore
Why
the
the hell
so-called Black Lives
would you
Matter
give them time?
organization that openly, on their website, calls for the destruction of the nuclear family. My fellow Americans, our families need each other.
What?
We need
They
black fathers
said
in
that
the
now a
homes
couple of
with
times.
their wives and children.
What the fuck does that mean?
The future of our communities
I'm
depend
gonna look
on
it up, actually.
I'm
They
blessed
want
to
to
be able to
destroy
run
the
inner city youth
nuclear
programs
family.
and to also teach in
Yeah.
prisons across America.
Well, and they
The
said
inmates
something
in my
about
federal prison
destroying
program
the
literally
suburbs
receive
as
days
we know
off
it.
their sentence
Oh, yeah,
just for
by
attending my
letting
class.
black people
And
in.
that's thanks to President Donald Trump
They didn't say
and his
black,
First Step
Paul.
Act.
I think you assumed
President
that.
Trump cared about these Americans and their families.
You're right. The McCloskeys
Even
were
so
not
many
dog
others have
whistling.
left
I
them
was making that
behind
up.
and have written them off. I'm
They're
forever
gonna bring
grateful for
in
President
lower
Trump for
income
that.
urban
He
citizens
endures
into our
relentless
nice
attacks.
neighborhood.
Shit, look at
And
this.
so do many of
He's-
us,
this
like
is
myself,
this
who
is
support
the
him. But my mom
homepage
always
of
told
Black
me,
Lives Matter.
when the Lord
We
starts
disrupt
blessing,
the Western
the devil
prescribed
starts
nuclear
messing.
family structure
This convention
requirement by
marks a
supporting
time
each other
to
as
celebrate our
extended
history.
families and
Republicans
villages
are the
that
party
collectively
that frees
care
the
for one
slaves,
another, especially our
and the party
children,
that put
to
the
the
first
degree
black
that
men
mothers,
and women in
parents, and
Congress.
children are comfortable.
It's the party of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, but the
And
official
now,
Black Lives
Tim
Matter
Scott
like
and Donald
organization and
Our
website, I
president
don't
has
really
made
think is
incredible strides to
representative
end mass
of the
incarceration
movement at
and give
large.
unprecedented
They're pretty
opportunities for
out
black
there with some of
in
their
America
left-wing stuff.
to rise.
That is kind of an
Americans,
interesting thing,
let
though.
this election
Like,
be a cause
I kind of get,
for
you know,
all God's
I get
people
the
who
idea
are called
of
by
it
his
takes a
name
village,
to humble
but
ourselves
like to come out
and
and
pray
say we want to
together
get rid of the
and to
nuclear
seek
family,
his face
and that's
and to turn
somehow
from our wicked
Western.
ways.
That
Then he
that's
will
a
hear
Western
us from heaven, and he will
ideal.
forgive our sins.
That's
Well,
kind of
it dep-
And he
stupid.
will
It depends
heal
how
our
you're
land.
defining nuclear family,
Amen.
right?
And
Because
God bless America.
in Western culture, it is very much like a suburban. I have my house and I have my fence, and I'm like separated from everyone else.
Yeah, but that's your idea of the nuclear family. I mean, for me, it can be, you know, one of the things we've done such a shitty job is in Western capitalism is the focus on the nuclear
My
family.
name is Chen Guangcheng.
And so what I mean by that
Standing
is
up
that,
to tyranny
like,
is not
you know,
easy.
we don't live near our grandparents. We don't live near our uncles and aunts and cousins. We live, you know, hundreds of miles away from each other because, well, you know, my dad had to go for a job, or my mom had to go for a job, or, you know what I mean? We were so separated that family structures have been destroyed, and that's a Western ideal. Right? If you go to Central and South America, you go to China, you go to Japan, you go to, you know, name X country that isn't the West, families live together.
Well,
families
even
live in the
within
same
the West,
house.
it's more of an American thing.
Yeah, it's almost purely
Well,
American.
it
You go
sounds
to
like
like
you're-
Spain or
Yeah.
France, same thing. I mean,
They have,
you'll
they have
see-
communities. Well, it sounds like you're agreeing with Black Lives Matter then.
Of humanity. It is terrorism.
I don't understand why.
Because like the nuclear family then is a problem because it keeps us like it's not the ideal of a family is not, you know, me,
That's
my
not
wife,
the
my two
nuclear
children.
family, though.
That's the nuclear family.
No, nuclear family is parents and children.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, without extended family.
Yeah.
I guess I am a Black Lives member then.
Yeah, it's two parents and their children. Which is also in contrast to like a single parent, so like it is a little bit fucked up.
Of freedom democracy
But, you know, whatever.
and the rule
Was this
of
guy
law
blinded by the Communist Party in China?
gather a
Oh my God.
coalition
This is a little strange.
other democracies to stop
I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure I'm almost 100% positive he's blind.
President Trump
No, he's definitely
had
blind.
led on this, and we need the other countries to join him in this fight. A fight for our future.
I don't know. I think
Standing up to fight and fairness isn't easy.
Family and
I
community
know.
without
So
delegitimizing
that President
the
Trump,
nuclear family.
but he has showing the
I think there's
courage to
I'm going to be
win
a
that
big brain
fight.
centrist, enlightened centrist
We
here.
need to support.
Well, I
vote,
still think the
and fight
parents
for
are the
President
most
Trump
important
for
part
the
of a
sake
child's life,
of the world.
right?
But
There
you don't-
there needs to be a community around it, but we also need to realize that, like, parents need enough time out of their day to
I'm
take care
Congressman
of
Lee
their
Zeldin.
children.
Tonight,
And
as
that's
we
something I
celebrate
think
America as a land of
we've
heroes,
lost in America.
I'm here at a
Yeah, but also
VFW
like,
host of
I
heroes
mean, my parents
in
were
West
divorced,
Hampton
and I'm
Beach,
not
New York.
any less of a fucking
I've
citizen
seen
or
amazing
like
Americans
some
in
like
action.
fucking discarded
Raised in
piece
a
of
law
shit because I
enforcement
didn't grow up in
family,
a nuclear family.
deployed to
Yeah,
Iraq,
but you
Therefore,
do
I-
suck,
airborne paratroopers.
and
But it has nothing to do with the
Serving
divorced
today
parents.
could
though.
be attributed to your
My generation
divorced
of
parents.
Post 9/11
But
veterans
wouldn't-
has huge shoes to fill.
This might be getting too
Following
personal for
our
all of us,
greatest
but
generation.
wouldn't it be better? Wouldn't it be
We're just-
better though to have a
All over
nuclear
our country.
family though?
Every
We're just
day
gonna
heroes
pivot
serve
into what
and
Rep. Lee
sacrifice
Zeldin
for
is
the
talking
greater
about.
good.
Why do we keep having New Yorkers
Farmers,
now? I thought we were out of the
truckers,
coastal at least with the
craftsmen,
RNC game.
These heroes
They must be
keep
doing.
America
They must
running.
be doing
And
like
President
daily
Trump
nights or something.
fights for them
because
every day.
like Monday was South
This year,
Carolina
we've
reps
especially relied
and-
on one
and,
particular
you know,
group of heroes,
politicians,
frontline
and now
medical
we're in
workers.
New York politicians.
My
Yeah,
twin
baby.
daughters, Michaela and Ariana, were born over
you
14
like that skirt?
weeks early.
Trump
They
will
weighed just a
never
pound and a half.
win New York, though.
At 2 weeks, Michaela went into septic shock, had a stroke, and underwent brain surgery.
Why do we
leaving
keep
a
talking about
third
all
of
these
the
people
left
who are
side of
having
her
these
brain a
tragic
hole.
medical issues?
Yeah, why aren't
Doctors
we
didn't
talking
believe
about
Michaela would
space?
survive, fearing dire
I haven't
permanent
heard Mars
consequences,
once.
even if she did.
I want to talk about
Through the
that.
miracles of modern
What was it?
medicine,
A bunker
Power
buster
of prayer
back
and her will to
when
live.
Trump was first.
My daughters are now
president. It was
starting
like
high
the first
school
month of
and
his
doing
presidency.
great.
Oh God, like
With
2016.
no
And
Yeah.
long-term effects
the
from
whole
those frightful
mainstream
months
media
in the
just went
NICU.
completely rock
So when I
hard
learned my
because
county's
he blew up the
PPE
side of a
stockpile
mountain.
was depleted,
And they were like,
I immediately
President
thought
Trump
of those
is
healthcare
officially a
workers
president
who saved
today.
Yeah,
today's
it's like,
girls.
oh, the most
Jared
presidential.
Kushner
This
and
was
I
the
were on
day
the
he
phone
became
late
president
into
of the
that
United
Saturday
States.
night. The very next day,
using
President
a
Trump announced he
multi-million
was
dollar
sending us
missile on the side
200,000
of a
N95
fucking mountain.
masks.
That
He
was
actually
his most
delivered
presidential
almost
moment.
400,000.
The
That number
glory,
quickly grew
the
to
glory and the
1.2
beauty of
million.
our missiles.
Masks, gowns, and more. The president sent thousands of
We
ventilators
do love the
to New York.
smell of
He
napalm in
deployed
the
the
morning.
USS
But
Comfort
isn't that like
and
one of our
converted the Javits
biggest
Center to a
bombs
field
outside of like a
hospital.
nuke?
His administration
Yeah, wasn't it called the?
authorized our lab testing
Am I
requests
imagining this, or was
at
it called the
blinding
Moab?
speed.
Yeah, that's
During a
right. That's right. It was
once-in-a-century
Moab.
pandemic, an unforeseeable crisis sent to us from a faraway
But it was
land. The president's
specifically
effort for New
built
York was
to like
phenomenal.
blow up
For our nation
Afghani
to emerge
terrorist
even
tunnels.
stronger,
Yeah.
more prosperous, freer, and more secure than ever. To make
Yeah,
our country
yeah. It was
greater
dropped
than ever
April
before,
13th,
we
2017
must
against
re-elect President Trump.
an ISIS
So
tunnel
that would have
complex.
been
Land of the
4
free
months
because of
after
the
he
brave.
was
And
president,
we are the land
give or
of
take.
opportunity because we have a president who wants to empower the best of who we
There
are.
was so
to
much.
the
There
best
was
of
so
what we
much
can be.
hope in those first months for
There's
me.
never
So
been
much
a
hope.
nation greater than ours.
I think the Moab
Never a
dropping
people
was actually
more
when I
resilient
was
than
like,
ours.
okay,
And never a
the Trump
future for
presidency is
America
going to
more
be
promising
bullshit.
than ours right now.
Yeah,
Keeping
it was a
America
similar
great
event for me, but it was
is
the
up to
bombing
us.
of the
And losing
Syrian
is
airstrip
not an option.
that got me.
And I'm very proud to
But that's because I'm an Assad toady.
office here.
Well, we all know
that
that
comes
one.
that comes from your Tulsi Gabbard fanboydom.
Tulsi Gabbard she just happens to be on the same side as me. We both love Assad. I don't love Assad because of her. I love her because she loves Assad.
You know, we need more ophthalmologists. What is he? Is that right? Ophthalmologist?
I think he's an optometrist.
What the fuck doctor is he? Optometrist. That's the word I was trying to say. Need more of those in key critical roles in international relations, I think.
Well, you know, in a lot of other countries, I guess I'm thinking specifically of European countries, that people with science backgrounds end up in politics. Like, isn't Angela Merkel like a mechanical engineer or something?
Some kind of engineer.
Like, you don't see that at all in United States politics anymore.
It's because we fucking hate elites and smart people.
The weird one in South Carolina, and I don't know if y'all have seen this in state government, quite a few pharmacists.
Really? That's weird.
Well, you know, now that I think about it, in Arkansas, I worked for a representative there, Marion Barry, if y'all remember that back in the day.
Yeah.
And
Marion Barry, not to be confused with Washington, D.C.
Right, exactly. Not the crack doing, prostitute buying mayor of Washington, D.C. This was the Northeast District of Arkansas, Marion Barry. And he was a pharmacist.
It's a mission.
Angela Merkel went to Karl Marx University where she studied physics.
Well, she grew up in East Germany.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
what? Okay, that makes sense.
She was the product of a Soviet breeding program.
Okay.
Some real deep
like Pete
state
Buttigieg.
stuff.
Yeah.
Some real deep state stuff.
Yeah.
Even more devastating disaster. The recent derecho storm.
All right.
It is interesting, though. I wonder. She was probably the first.
Heard much about it at first.
She was one of the first leaders of reunified Germany. So it's interesting that fell to a East German rather than a West German.
Yeah.
Iowa's still just flyover country.
Well, it does make sense,
were destroyed.
though,
About 1/3 of our
because I
crops
think
here
your
were
East
damaged.
Germans are actually the
In some cases,
most
these storms wiped
conservative
a
out of the
lifetime
groups.
work.
They
And
are.
yet Iowa farmers
Why do you have a big
Because she
drone logo?
is she's a what do they call themselves? Social Christian or Christian Social Democrat or something
Yeah,
like that.
Christian Democrat.
Christian
The
Democrat.
stewards of the land,
Yeah.
And
the ones who feed and
I
fuel
mean
the
that
world.
they're relatively
President Trump
conservative.
quickly
Now,
signed an
granted,
emergency
that's
declaration
European
for Iowa to
conservative.
provide relief. And of course, when President
Can I
Trump
just make a
came to Cedar
comment?
Rapids,
Fuck the corn
national
industry.
media finally did too.
Yeah, dude.
You got this
I'll-
fucking Iowa
I'll-
senator here.
I'll allow it. I'll allow
Just
it.
talking
Fuck
corn.
big
We
corn.
make so much goddamn
We
corn,
scrapped
and
Too
we
much corn.
subsidize it like crazy.
Too much corn.
Waters of the
We don't need
United
it.
States
We don't
pool.
need it. We literally
Which
don't need
would
it. We don't.
regulated
We didn't
about
even know what to do with it, so we just started
97%
making
of
corn
land
syrup
in
and putting it in
Iowa.
everything. Because we're like,
In
what the fuck
some
do we do with all this
cases,
corn?
even puddles.
I didn't know
It would have
Joni
been
Ernst
a
was so
nightmare for
attractive.
farmers. The president delivered
That's in
on
the eye
major
of the
trade
beholder,
deals
dude.
with
She's
Japan
surrounded by corn. I
and
hate
the
her.
United States, Mexico, Canada,
You know,
He
Yeah.
looks good by
and
comparison.
he implemented
Nothing
the
is
sale
less
of
attractive to
15
me than a
fuel
woman
year-round.
who promotes
That
the
means
corn
more
industry.
choices for you at the pump and more jobs
That's
for
the height
farmers
of
in
it,
the
right? The
heartland.
height
is
of
the
your
height.
least
This is
attractive
something the
person.
Obama-Biden
I went on a date
administration
once, and the girl
failed to
started
do
talking about
in
corn, and I
8
was like,
years.
"Fuck you," and I
In
left.
fact, I can't recall an administration
Yeah,
more
but
hostile
rain
to
makes
farmers
corn.
than Obama-Biden.
Corn makes whiskey.
Unless you count the
Whiskey makes my
Biden-Harris ticket.
baby a
The
little bit
Democratic
frisky.
Party of Joe Biden is
Therefore,
pushing this
ipso
so-called
facto,
Green New
rain is a
Deal.
good thing.
If given power,
Damn.
it would essentially ban
I don't think I have a
You got you
counterpoint to
there.
that, but to hear my comeback, listen to the next pod.
Would you say a contrapoint?
Not just here in Iowa, but throughout the country.
Checkmate.
When the pandemic hit,
I'm just
President
getting
Trump
got
heard us
over
in
and
our
over again
call for
today, dude.
assistance
I need
for
to go to
Checkmate,
bed.
libtard.
Knowing we have an ally in the White House is important.
I
My
am the
facts-
libtard out of this group,
Election
dude.
is a choice
My facts don't care
between
about your
two
feelings.
very different
You know,
paths.
one of the things I do need to do before
Prosperity
Trump
economic
goes to
growth
prison
under
is
a
get
Trump
me
Pence
some
administration.
Donald Trump
Or
Sharpie
the
pens.
Biden-Harris path.
paved by liberal coastal elites and
You can
radical
buy
land
out of the
An America
out of the
where
Trump
farmers are
store. You
punished,
can buy his
jobs
Sharpie
are
pens.
destroyed,
That he's
and
used?
taxes crush the middle class.
I think
That is
he
how
gives
we
those
them?
away out of
It's a clear one.
special, but you can get
Thank
like
you.
the Donald Trump Sharpie.
It's like the Vatican where you can buy a rosary that's been blessed by the Pope. They just
Yeah,
like
have they
wheel
been
like 1,000
sanctified?
in. Yeah, he just does the cross thing. That's like it's like what Trump does.
Shackled in the belly of a slave ship.
Oh, we're talking about slavery again.
Named Silas Burgess came to America to be
U.S.
sold on
House
an auction
candidate
block.
Burgess Owens
By
from
the grace
Utah.
of God and the
There's
courage of
black
slaves who
people
believed
in
in freedom,
Utah?
Silas escaped through the Underground Railroad
They
and settled in the great
the
state
Mormon
of Texas.
Church started letting them in, so I
He
think
wanted to become a
there might be
successful
a few.
entrepreneur.
Do you think he's
He built
Mormon?
his community's first church,
You want
first
to
Gotta
elementary
be.
school,
Sure.
and purchased
Dude,
102
look at
acres
him.
of farmland, which
Well,
he paid
he
off
hasn't
in
won
2
yet.
years.
He's just a candidate, so
I'm here today,
I don't
a
know, but
candidate
if
for
he
Congress,
is
because of my
going to win, he needs to be
great-great-grandfather,
Mormon. That's
Silas
like a rule.
Burgess. I was raised in the South during the days of Jim Crow and the KKK. Even through the challenges of segregation,
Another
He's
NFL
Mormon.
player.
it's possible
He's
Played
Mormon.
for the Jets and Raiders.
When I was 22 years old,
Yeah,
I
dude.
thought all my dreams
He was
had
in
come true
an article
when I was
that
drafted
was
by the New
called
York
"Pro
Jets.
Football Players Share Their
10 years
Mormon
later,
Faith."
with a Pro Bowl nod and a Super Bowl championship under my belt, I left the NFL to start a business. I thought I could never fail, but years later I did, and I lost everything.
He's
As
not
I moved
originally
my
from
family of
Utah.
six into a
Oh, no,
one-bedroom
he
basement
is a
apartment in
member of the
Brooklyn, New
Church
York,
of Jesus
I
Christ
had a
of
choice to
Latter-day
make.
Saints.
Did you not hear me?
Or get to work.
What?
I literally just
I
said
worked
that.
as a chimney sweep during the day.
Oh, I didn't hear
and
either.
a security
I didn't
guard at
hear
night.
Oh, for real?
It was humbling to be recognized cleaning
Yeah,
the chimney
I guess
by
you're
someone who
pretty
was cheering
shitty
me
at your job, dude.
as
Okay.
an NFL fan.
What's going on with the
But those
audio,
hard days would pay
man?
off, and eventually I started a career, rewarding career
It's probably
in the corporate
Zoom,
world.
dude.
It may be
We live in a
Zoom.
country
So wait, is he
where we're encouraged to
wearing
dream big,
magical underwear
where
right
second
now?
chances are at the
He has
core
to
of
be.
our American DNA.
I think I saw it when he walked
We don't
up.
hear that same message from Nancy Pelosi's Congress. Career
I'm always
politicians,
looking.
elitists,
If I'm not
and even a former bartender
mistaken, I think you
want us
only
to
have
believe
to
it's
wear the
impossible.
underwear when you go into the temple.
They want us to believe that
Oh,
what
I thought it was
did,
when you went to
what my
bed. I thought it was like
great-great-grandfather
pajamas.
did, is impossible for ordinary
That's the
Americans.
Mormon porn you're
As
watching,
patriots, we know
John.
better.
Oh, well, that's where I
This
learned
November, we
most of
stand
my
at a
facts.
crossroad. Mobs torched our cities while
Where I
popular members
learned most of my dogmatic
Do you know how much
practices.
fun it is to be a plumber nowadays?
Against in World War II. We have a Democratic candidate for president
How?
who says that I'm not black if I don't vote for
Because
him.
they're always getting laid.
Now
They're
more
always
than
laying
ever,
pipe.
we need leaders
Yeah.
who stand by their principles and won't compromise their values for political
My
opportunities.
first thought was like thinking of all
Now,
the plumbers
more
that
than
work
ever,
on the
we
job
need
that I'm on.
leaders
I'm
who
like, I
stand
don't
up to
know. This doesn't
lawlessness
seem that
supported
fun.
by the radical left. This November, we have an opportunity
By
to
the way,
reject the
I
mob
just
mentality
walked to the corner store
and once
to the
again be the America
CVS down on the Riverwalk.
It's not a bodega? Are
During
you
the Trump
even in
administration, business
Texas?
ownership among blacks,
Dude, they don't.
Hispanics,
I don't think
and
they have
females
bodegas
reached
here. I
all-time
think that's a
highs.
Puerto Rican thing.
Those same groups enjoy record low unemployment and unprecedented
But,
prosperity.
Puerto
And we're just getting started.
Anyway, I went
Running for
down and
Congress
it's
because we
packed.
don't need more
There are
career
more people
politicians.
out right now
We need a few more chimney
than there have
sweeps.
been since COVID
We
started.
need more leaders like President Trump.
What's going
who
on?
understand the freedoms that make up
It's
the
all
fabric
the
of
all the
America.
refugees
My fellow
fleeing the
Americans,
hurricane.
specifically my Democrat
yeah.
and
Cat-
independent
Cat
friends.
four, dude.
It is now
Houston
time for
is
us to
about to
unite
get
and
fucked
put aside partisan
again.
barriers.
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah, they
hit
said-
tonight.
Help us
It's
win
gonna be
back the
bad.
House.
Yeah, they said
Keep
that
the
it's like
city.
a hurricane,
give
like a
our president 4
non-survivable
more
hurricane.
years,
Like
and I
everyone needs
promise
to
you,
fuck out.
we will
It's
make you
category
proud.
4, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and then we got
And
one
God
coming
bless
right
the
after,
United
right? Within
States of
48
America.
hours.
Yeah, it's like Laura and what's the second one?
Marco.
Marco. That's right.
Standing guard
Dude,
over Baltimore
it's like
Harbor
that movie
is the
2012, man.
remains
It's like a
of
double
an earthen
event.
star,
Do you think they
a relic
picked
of time past.
Marco on purpose?
It
Because if
recalls
it
a
hits
time when
landfall,
the
then Marco
spirit of liberty
Rubio's
stirred
fucked?
in men of
Oh
the
yeah,
hour
dude.
who stood in the gap against the
Wait,
most
why?
powerful force in the world.
Because his name's Marco as well, and then
27
like the
hours,
Hurricane
1,000
Marco
men,
is just
low
kind
on
of,
ammunition,
it's a pretty
carrying
easy
scrap
analogy,
metal.
right?
The battle raged, insurmountable odds.
Hey, they're doing
I
the
think I just
Francis
ruined
Scott
the
Key
joke. I'm sorry.
story.
Upon this new nation. In the midst of the fight,
Do you think they're going to talk about that last verse of the song that's super racist and talks about lynching black people?
The light of dawn overcame the darkness.
We don't sing that
The gallant
verse.
flag.
We don't
okay.
sing that
Fort
verse.
McHenry,
We ignore that part?
torn and battered,
We ignore
stood.
that part. Just
okay.
like
out of respect, we ignore that part.
Slowly retreating into the rising sun.
By the way, I looked it up, and Mormons are supposed to wear their garments day or night, but they do have to wear it before they enter the temple, as long as they've gone through the endowment ceremony, which I assume involves a lot of special handshakes
all stood and prevailed.
and masked men.
It is why we stand today, honoring past, present,
I love
and
a good
future
Star Fort.
generations of freedom-loving Americans.
Not enough Star Forts being made anymore.
Wait, did they have red coats in the background there?
Did they?
Yeah, get those guys out.
Get the fucking red
Good
coat
evening,
out.
America. I'm Laura
Oh,
Trump,
another blonde lady.
daughter of Bob and Linda Unaska.
This is Laura
sister to
Trump?
Kyle,
I haven't seen her
mother
before.
to Luke and Carolina,
You haven't?
and the
Wasn't she
daughter-in-law
the
of our 45th
one that was
president,
recorded
Donald J.
talking a
Trump.
bunch of shit about Trump?
But tonight,
Yeah,
I
she
come
got
to you
drunk and
simply
was
as
talking
an
about
American.
how he
My
like
life
hates all the
began
kids
like
or
many
something.
in our country. I grew up in Wrightsville Beach, North
You
Carolina.
know what, though?
My parents were small business owners and
I
worked
believe
hard to
that.
make
Like,
sure that
other
my
than
brother and I
Ivanka,
had
Donald
everything
hates
we
all of
needed,
his children.
but not everything we wanted. My parents raised me to believe
Like,
that
I think-
in America,
I
I
forget
could
the
achieve
story, but
anything
it
with
was
hard
like
work and determination.
he hated either
But
her
the
or one of the other
opportunities
kids for like
available to
being
me
too
were
fat,
limited only
and
by
then
the
she had to do
size
like
of my
this whole
ambition,
apology
that
tour or
I should
something.
dream big, and I did.
Wait, is Laura Trump
Those very
his
dreams are what
sister?
led me to New York City.
No, it's
I'd
his
heard the adage, if I could
daughter-in-law.
make it there, I
She's
could
married
make it
to
anywhere.
Eric.
And I intended to do just
She's
that.
married to Eric?
Never in a
Yeah.
million years did I think that I would be on this stage tonight.
Oh, I was
And
right,
certainly
Chris.
never thought
Yeah, I
that
told
I'd
you the
end up
fucking
with
wives are
last name
talking.
Trump. My 7th grade English teacher, Mrs. B, used to tell
Dude,
us,
Eric is the
believe none of what you
frumpiest of them,
hear,
too.
half
Dude,
of what you read,
is Eric
and
speaking?
only what you're there to witness firsthand.
He already spoke.
Already
The
spoke.
meaning of those words
It
never
is
fully
it is
weighed on
weird,
me
man, that
until
it's
I
like
met
all
my
of his
husband
kids
and
and
the
all
Trump
of their
family.
spouses or
Any
girlfriends
preconceived notion I had
are
of this
like
family
keynote speakers at this
disappeared
thing.
immediately.
Well, it's just
They
a
were
little
warm and
too
caring.
North
They were
Korean to
hard
feel
workers,
great
Yeah.
about.
and they were down to
It's-
earth. They reminded me of my
Little
own family.
too Banana
They made me
Republic.
feel like I was
Yeah,
home.
it's like
Walking the halls of the Trump organization, I saw the same family environment. I
Of
also
course it's
saw
a-
the
yeah.
countless women
He loves
executives
family
who
environments. That's why all
thrived
you
there
fuckers are in the
year
White House.
after year. Gender didn't matter. What mattered was the ability
Well,
to get the job done.
Didn't all of, I mean, just
I
to
learned
be
this
fair
directly
here,
when,
didn't
in
all the
2016, my
relatives
father-in-law
speak at
asked
the
me
Democratic
to
National
help him win
Convention,
my
too?
cherished home state.
Yeah, so it was
and
more
my
of like
daughter's
a
namesake,
montage of
North
them
Carolina.
talking about how much they love their
Though I
dad
had
and how
no
nice of a
political
dad
Oh,
he
that's
is.
right. I remember
Yeah.
the
He knew I was
grandpa
capable,
monologue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
even if I
grandpa.
didn't.
The grandpa. We love our
So it
grandpa,
didn't
and he
surprise
always
me when
calls us,
President
and
Donald Trump
sometimes I don't
appointed
answer.
so many women to senior
Can you
level positions
imagine
in his administration.
Donald
Yeah.
Trump's
Secretary of the United
grandchildren
Nations,
calling him Pop?
Secretary of the Air Force, the
You
first
call me
female
Don.
CIA
No,
director,
yeah,
the
yeah.
first black female
Call
me the
director
Donald,
of the
you
Fish and
stupid little
Wildlife Service,
fuck.
Don Don.
and countless
I'm Don Don.
ambassadors, just to name
But
a few.
the thing with those is that they were all
Under
like
President Trump's
personal,
leadership,
like human
women's
endorsements of
unemployment
his
hit the
character,
lowest
and these are
level
all
since World War
political
II.
speeches. Like this is to get
4.3
his family
million
into
new
a political
jobs have been
dynasty,
created
is
for
the
women. In 2019
But
alone,
to-
women took over
to
70%
back up John,
of
though,
all
it
new
is
jobs.
bullshit.
Female small business
What's
ownership
bullshit?
remains at an all-time high.
I don't wanna see
and
your fucking
600,000
family.
women have been lifted
Oh no, I
out
completely
of
agree.
poverty
I wish that they
all
wouldn't do
since
it at all.
President Trump took office.
Um,
He didn't do these
I don't
things
think
to
about like
gain
I
a
don't care
vote or
about
check
Joe
a box.
Biden's fucking
He did
granddaughters
them
making
because
jokes
they're the
about how
right
much he
things
calls
to
them.
do.
Yeah.
100 years ago today, the
Well,
I
Ninth
just don't
Amendment was
like-
ratified,
How is
granting the right
how is
to
a
vote
family member
to
supposed
every
to give you
American
an
woman.
accurate read
And since
on
that
what a
day,
person's
incredible
actually
strides
like?
have been made
You're
by
not
women
even
in
supposed to
America.
put a family member
From
on a
Amelia Earhart to
job
Rosa Parks and Sally
recommendation,
Ride,
right?
women shaped
Yeah.
our history and are part of what has made our country the most exceptional nation in the world.
Like, why would I trust you at all?
I often think back to
Yeah,
my
like what?
24-year-old self,
Of course.
driving alone in my
They
car
they
from North
get
Carolina
more
to New
out
York
of
City.
Joe
And
Biden
I
or
think
Donald
about
Trump
what I
being
tell
president
myself now
than
as we head
anyone
towards the
else
most
in the
critical election
world.
in modern history. This is not just a choice choice between
She's
Republican
like, I
and
want
Democrat
to continue
or
being
left
a
and right.
princess of America.
This is an
Make
election
that
that will
happen for me,
decide
America.
if we keep America
Do you know how much
America,
money I'm making right
or
now?
if we head down an uncharted, frightening
Vote
path
for Donald
towards
Trump.
socialism. Abraham Lincoln once famously
All right,
said,
I gotta run and pee.
America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. While those words were spoken over 150
I mean, that's a
years
fair
ago,
quote. I think we are
never
going to
have they
destroy
been
ourselves.
more relevant. Will we choose the right path and maintain the unique freedoms and boundless opportunities that make this country the greatest in the history of the world?
Unpopular opinion here,
Will we
maybe,
remain
but I
the
think
beacon of hope
Abraham
for
Lincoln
those
was a
around
pretty
the world
smart,
fighting
pretty good
oppression,
president.
communism, and tyranny?
Don't get us
The
canceled
choice
here,
is
man.
ours. I know the promise of America because
go out
I
on a
lived
limb
it.
here.
Not just as a member of the Trump family, but as a woman who knows what
I
it's
remember
like
I had
to
a
work in
history
blue-collar
teacher who
jobs,
hated
to
Lincoln
serve
when I was growing
customers for
up.
tips, and to aspire to rise. When I look at my son
The
Luke and my
fascists who
daughter
didn't let
Carolina,
the southern
I
states
wonder,
leave the Union, you know.
what sort of country will I be
Yeah,
leaving for them,
there are,
for our future generations?
That's sort of
In
like
recent months, we've seen weak, spineless politicians seize control of our great American cities to
perspective to
violent
have
mobs.
as a Southerner.
Defund the police
It's like,
is
yeah,
the
okay,
rallying cry for the new
I get it.
radical
That's what people
Democrat
thought
Party.
at the time.
Joe Biden
But
will
like,
not do what
that
it
was
takes
a
to
very
maintain
long
order,
time ago,
to
and
keep our children safe in
think
our
that you
neighborhoods
actually
and in their
believe that
schools,
today is kind of
to
ridiculous.
restore
It's
our
pretty
American
dumb.
way of life. We cannot dare to dream our biggest dreams for ourselves or for our children while consumed by worry about the safety of our families. President Trump is the law and order president, from our borders to our backyards. President Trump will keep America safe.
Yeah.
President Trump
Wisconsin's
will keep
doing
America
great right now,
prosperous.
dude. A lot of law and order over
President
there.
Trump will keep America America.
Portland crushing it.
If you're watching tonight and wrestling with your vote on November 3rd, I implore you, tune out the distorted news and biased commentary and hear it straight from someone who knows.
Fuck fake news.
I wasn't born a Trump. I'm from the South. I was raised a Carolina girl. I went to public schools and worked my way through a state university. Mrs.
And then
B
I
from my
married
seventh grade
rich,
English
and
class
now I'm in the
was
White
right.
House.
What I learned about our president is different than what you might have heard. I learned that he's a good man, that he loves his family.
Dude, this is the pretty effective play though that I feel like
that
it's his
no
base.
one on earth works harder for the American people. That he's willing
The
to
whole
fight for
like
his
the media is
beliefs and
lying
for the
about Trump
people
and like not
and the
reporting things
country
right.
that he loves.
And I've never been to
He is a person of conviction.
Trump speech or
He is a
Trump rally,
fighter
but from
and
like
will
what I've
never stop
heard,
fighting for America.
a lot of it
He
is
will
like
uphold
pretty
our
normal,
values.
and then
He
he'll
will
say like
preserve
a
our
couple crazy
families.
things,
And he will
and then they
build
only
upon the
report
great
the
American
crazy
edict that our
shit. So then it
union
like
will
really
never be
reinforces that
perfect
idea of like
until
all the media is just
opportunity is
bullshitting me
equal for
constantly.
all.
Yeah,
including
100%.
and
Like
especially
when I
for
back
women.
in 2016,
Our
I
40th
would, you
president,
know, being
Ronald
a political
Reagan,
nerd,
said
I
it
would
best.
watch
The dreams of
like
people
all
may
the
differ,
major
but
speeches from the
everybody
big
wants their
candidates.
dreams to come true.
And so,
And
and
America,
of course,
above
Trump's
all
were
places, gives us the freedom to
wild,
do
and
that.
everybody's talking about how crazy they are.
It's
And
up
I'd
to us
watch
to keep this
almost
country a
every
place where
single
no
one of
dream
them.
is out of reach.
And
For our
then I'd
children
read the
and
articles
generations
or
beyond.
watch the clips that people reported on
To my
afterwards.
father-in-law,
And it
thank you
really
for
was
believing in me.
extremely slanted.
Thank you for bravely
like
leading
taking
this country,
things
and thank you
out
for
of
continuing to
context,
fight
or
every day
you know, taking
for
things
America.
literally when they were
May God
clearly
bless
like
and
a
protect the Gulf
non-serious
states in the
offhand
path of the
comment
hurricane.
or whatever.
May God bless
And
our
like,
troops, and may
I don't know.
God
I think
continue to bless
Well, that
this
that
incredible
became the
country.
saying, right, John? That you're supposed to take, what is it, Trump seriously, not literally.
yeah, the Democrats or the liberals take Trump literally, but not seriously, and his base takes him seriously, but not literally.
Right.
There is a hole in my heart.
I mean, it plays though is the thing. It works. The media.
You're totally right.
Yeah.
It does reinforce that mindset that, like, when you see that, when I saw that, I was like, what the fuck? The media is like straight up lying about this.
Mm-hmm.
Very disturbing.
Put him in a cage.
Yeah, and it's when you catch them lying about that or being like severely slanted about that thing, then you're like, well, why the fuck would I listen to you on other stuff? So it's one of those things where it's like the important stuff gets washed out so easily, and we always talk about this, but when you're running at 11 on everything that Trump does, how does anyone know when it's serious? Because it's just more shit, it's more noise.
Well, and you know what even got me in that mindset in the first place, where I was really questioning if the media was telling the truth, was because the same thing happened with Bernie Sanders. When I was like really into Bernie Sanders in 2015 and 2016, it was, you know, I'd watch his speeches or I'd watch things that he says or interviews that he does, and then people in the mainstream press would just totally misrepresent his position on things to the point where I was like, I cannot believe that like our most trusted news organizations are bullshitting this hard. Like it disturbed me deeply.
Well, and it's the classic, how many articles did we see of them like showing 3 or 4 tweets and being like, look how terrible the Bernie bros are. And it was like Bernie fan 64397, and it was like, this is the tweet you're going to bring up?
Yeah, and people, they
did that shit for Trump too.
Yeah, they still do that shit.
Look how deplorable his fans are. Look at these tweets, and it's like, this is journalism now, going through Twitter and bringing up, like, who knows who these people are?
Yeah, and who cares?
Who knows?
It's like
they keep doing it, so enough people care, right? It's resistance Twitter and Trump Twitter are all like, yeah, I want to see that tweet that I think is evil.
Yeah, I want to get mad.
I want to get mad.
Yeah, and it's anyone could be making those accounts. I mean, I was researching the Covington kid because I just wasn't as familiar with his story, and the original poster. I'm not sure. But the original poster of that video was a fake troll account.
60 years ago,
what do you mean a fake troll account?
Was legal.
It was a fake account that posted. It was a fake name. The picture was a model, and it claimed to be a teacher. And it wasn't a teacher. It wasn't a fucking model, and it was just a fake name. It was just a troll account.
Walking into Woolworth department store on February 2nd, 1960. I knew it was
like
unlike any
80%
day
of
I'd
Twitter
experienced
is
before.
fake troll accounts.
My friends had
Yeah,
been
dude. If
denied
it was
service the day
started
before
that month and it
because
has
of the
a picture
color
of
their
a
skin.
real person model,
we knew
and claims to be a
wasn't right.
teacher, it's probably not fucking
But
real.
when we went back the next day,
You know,
I didn't know whether I
it's
was
kind of an
going to come
interesting
out
transformation
in a
that's
vertical or
happened
prone
since the
position,
internet
in
has
handcuffs
matured, I
or
guess
on a
you would
stretcher,
say. Because
or
like in the
even
90s
in a
and
body
in the
bag.
early 2000s,
By sitting
everybody
down
would
to
be
order a
considered
cup
a
of
fake
coffee,
troll. Like
we
in no
challenged
way would your
injustice.
username
We
or
knew
your
it was
information be
necessary,
connected at
but
all
we
to
didn't
your
know
real
what would
self.
happen.
And
We faced
people,
down
the
KKK.
people would
We
espouse,
cursed them and
they would
called all kinds of
perform
names.
different
They threatened to
identities
kill us,
online
and some
rather
of
than
us
like
were
representing
arrested.
themselves
But
online.
it was
And
working.
now, like,
Our
if
actions
you aren't
inspired
representing
similar
yourself, if you're
protests
not
throughout the
checkmark
South
verified
against
or your
racial
real name
injustice.
or
And in the end,
your real
segregation was
photo aren't
abolished, and our
attached to
country moved a step closer
your
to true
account, then
equality
it's
for
like
all. That's
you're
what
not taken
actual
seriously
peaceful
as a
protest
real
can accomplish.
person.
Well,
America
and
isn't perfect.
whose fault
We're always
has that
improving.
become? It's
But
the
the great thing
media's
about
fault
this
for
country is that
using
it's not
social
where you
media
come from,
posts as
it's where you're
news.
going. I was
Yeah.
born on what some
I don't
would
even
call
necessarily
the
think
wrong
it's a
side
bad
of the
thing. I
track.
just think it's an
I
interesting
don't even have a
transition
birth
that's
certificate.
occurred where
Yeah.
we went
I
from
never
the
attended
internet
an
was
integrated school,
completely
and I'm the
anonymous
only
and
one out of
purposefully
my immediate
anonymous
family
to
who
the
graduated
internet
from college
is like if
in
you're still
HBCUs.
anonymous on the internet, then
I'm
you're
a
not
military
a
veteran and a
serious
civil rights
commentator.
activist.
Well, and the
you
thing
know what
is that
else?
like it's
I'm a
also been
Republican,
infiltrated and
and I
abused
support
by a lot of
Donald
different
Trump.
parties that
If
are,
that sounds
making
strange,
fake
you
accounts
don't
and
know
putting
your
out
history.
fake information and shit.
It was the Republican Party
So like it's
that
a
passed the
tactic now
13th
used by
Amendment,
governments
abolishing
all the
slavery.
way. Like the
It
United
was the
States government
Republican
does it,
Party that
Russia does
passed
it,
the
China does
14th
it,
Amendment,
everyone's doing it
giving
now.
black men
Fucking
citizenship.
every
It was the
corporation does it. If
Republican
they don't
Party
have
Every corporation,
if they don't
yeah.
have an
the
astro
15th
surfing
Amendment,
campaign
giving black
on
men
Yeah.
Reddit
the right
and they're
to
not
vote.
doing their due diligence.
Freedom
Right.
of
Yeah.
thought is a
100%.
powerful
It's
tool.
almost the thing of like when you see
There
this
are
shit. I mean, I see it all the time on Twitter. I'm like,
voters all
this
over the
looks like
country who
a
media
troll
is trying to
account.
convince
Like
to conform to
it
the
has
same
8
old
digits
Democratic
after its
talking
name.
points.
It was started
You
2
know what
months
that'll
ago and
get
has
you?
10,000
The
tweets. Like
same old
this is some
result.
fake shit.
Joe Biden had the audacity
Well,
to
and
say,
John,
if you
on
don't
that
vote for
that
him, you
note,
ain't black. Well,
just
to
thinking
that,
about
I say,
Reddit,
if you do
you'll
vote for
always
Biden,
see
you
like
don't know history. Donald Trump
the
is
Xbox.
not a politician.
What's the new
He's a
Xbox
leader.
called? The Tower or whatever.
Politicians are
The new Xbox looks like this, and the new PlayStation looks like this, and then it's like nothing for the but like PlayStation Xbox advertisement for the next 2 weeks because of the memes.
Yeah.
in opportunity zones.
Yeah, it's
the
that's one of the reasons I don't go to Reddit very often is because it's like there's so much of that, and that in itself doesn't upset me because I can see, at least I think that I can see through like corporately sponsored bullshit, but it makes me upset because so many other people engage with it, like real people engage with it like it's an authentic post and not some astroturfing campaign. And
it's all about them updoots, dude. Gotta get an updoot.
Yeah, gotta get an update on my doggo.
Yeah, dude, if corporations and government didn't fuck the internet, life wouldn't suck so hard right now.
Their character, their talents and abilities, not by the color of their skin. This is the America I was fighting for 60 years ago.
Wait, this guy,
This is the America
1960s Greensboro sit-in participant.
Let's all
Greensboro was one of the first sit-ins in America.
Trump on November 3rd. Thank you.
Who's this guy? Dude, all these fuckers have the exact same haircut.
4 years ago,
yeah, dude.
One outsider stood alone.
Former acting director of national intelligence, Richard Greenell.
Chad.
It was 14 years after
military.
the start of the war in Afghanistan.
Former acting director of national intelligence. That's going to be every single Trump administration person's title.
None of them were actually anything.
Chris, I think this actually beats the lieutenant general who was the assistant foreign policy advisor to the vice president.
Yeah, he barely beats him out.
Donald Trump.
Was this the guy after Michael Flynn?
What they were. A disaster.
I don't know.
The media was shocked because Donald Trump was running as a Republican.
Dude, I forget what I was. I think it was. I was listening to an interview with Katie Hill where she was talking about how big of a shit show getting the military audit was because the leadership keeps changing so much under Trump. You have like a different guy every year, so no one knows what the hell's going on within any department.
And so they started
by
to
design, I'm
pursue
sure.
unlimited globalization.
Preceded by Joseph McGuire. I don't even know who that is.
Nation building in Afghanistan.
Wait, what audit of the military are they talking about?
They signed a nuclear deal with Iran.
There was like a major audit of the military that was done recently that showed that we just didn't know where any of the money was going.
Any of it in the interests of the
Hey, that's something.
American.
I don't know if that's Trump's doing, but
so for decades, while Washington
that's at least
politicians
something.
built a global
No,
system,
I don't think it was Trump's doing it all. I think that's
stagnated.
just how our military functions. Like it's
Our
so
great
big and
cities
bloated that we don't know where
industries
anything
were
is.
hollowed out. Entire communities.
No,
were
but I mean the
devastated.
fact that an audit even
and our
happened.
manufacturing
Oh,
plants
yeah,
were
yeah,
shipped off to China. That's what happened when Washington stopped being the capital of the United States.
Look at Iraq and
started being the
Afghanistan,
capital of
dude.
the
I mean, what is the actual price
As
tag
U.S. ambassador
of
to
those
Germany,
two
I had a
wars?
front row seat to Donald Trump's America
We'll have
First
no idea.
foreign policy.
We'll have no idea.
I wish every American could see how President
People
Trump
always
negotiates
talk
on their
about those wars for oil, and
I've watched President
to
Trump
me,
charm the
there's a lot
Chancellor
of cash
Germany
to be made in the
while insisting
arms
that
and
Germany pay its
military
NATO
equipment
obligations.
industry.
I was proud
as
to witness
much
President Trump
as
say
there
to
would
foreign
be
leaders,
in terms of
I don't
just
blame
personal
you for
wealth
wanting America to
that you
pay
could
for your
make
security.
for,
I actually
from
respect
oil.
you for out-negotiating
Maybe
the
not, I
presidents
don't know.
before me.
It's all
But
buku
it
money,
stops
so
with
it's
me.
hard to wrap your mind
I won't
around.
let the American
That's true,
taxpayer be
and
taken advantage of.
I mean, it's the military-industrial complex, right?
Trump's
But
administration
also,
has
when
always
I
made
was reading a
clear
study that was trying to
our
actually
priority
estimate the
is the
total cost of
American
Vietnam,
people's security.
which includes, number
That's
one,
the job of all
actual
leaders,
cost of Vietnam, but then
put
the
their
economic
people
impact
first.
back home,
And we've seen
and
how this strategy
how much
has
it costs to
In 4
give
short
medical
years,
care
Donald Trump has
to
led even
soldiers
some
after they
Washington
came
Democrats
back,
to agree on a
and
Chinese
care that they had
strategy,
to get the rest of their
on
lives
trade
for
deals that
having
benefit America
PTSD
first,
or
on
losing
alliances that
fucking limbs
share
and shit, and it's just
Agent Orange.
In
yeah,
4
exactly.
years,
It's just
Donald Trump didn't start any
astronomical
new
how
wars.
much this costs the
He
U.S.
brought
government.
troops home. He rebuilt
Well,
the
it's
military.
here's
and
what it
signed
is, and
peace
this
deals
is
that make
true
Americans
for so many
safer.
government programs
The Washington
across the
elites want
board.
you
And
to
I'm going
think
to
this
sound like a
kind of foreign
libertarian
policy
here,
is
but
immoral.
these programs
And
are
so
voted
they
on
call it
and they're lobbied
nationalist.
for by a concentrated
That tells you
group
all
of
you need to know.
individuals who are going to
when they call Donald
benefit
Trump a nationalist,
greatly,
they're
while
insulting
everybody
them.
else is paying like
As if the
diffused
American
costs
president
via
isn't
our tax
supposed to base
dollars.
foreign
Mm-hmm.
policy
And
on
so they
America's
lobby for these
national interests.
programs that they are going to
Alternative
benefit
Biden's way
greatly
of thinking
from,
means
and
America gives
there's
the radical
1,000 of
terrorist
those
regime in
things going
Tehran
on.
a plain
And
white
so it's just
pass
like
in
a
the middle of the
siphon
night.
from the greater American
Well,
pool
you
of
see,
tax dollars
President
into
Trump
a
also
small
sent
number
an
of
aircraft
hands
in the middle of the night
of
to
people
deal
who
with
are
Iran.
manufacturing
plane
weapons
was
of
on a
war
different mission.
or whatever it is that
An
they're
airstrike to take
benefiting
out the
from through
head
the
of Iran's
process.
terror machine.
Well, and
applied to the
John,
deaths of
take World
Americans.
War II, for instance.
But we
Who
also
were
must
some of
be
the
clear
companies that did
that
the
when
greatest?
those who
It wasn't
seek
even the
to
arms
tremendous
manufacturers.
in
It was
places like
the
Hong Kong,
it was like
Tehran,
Dow
or Minsk,
Chemical
there is
and
no
the
doubt who
company that
President
came
Trump's
up with
administration
synthetic
supports.
rubber and
We
synthetic
will
plastic.
always stand
Right.
with the people who fight for
They,
their
you know,
God-given freedoms.
GE freaking killed it.
Yeah,
right?
just the general
GE
manufacturing base.
Washington establishment is trying to
GE,
sell
I don't
you
think
on their
ever
candidate.
made, a round
Joe
of
Biden
ammunition.
was first elected to the Senate in 1970.
Well, I mean, that's like the. No, sorry, go, Chris.
48
No,
years ago.
I was just gonna say
But
that
it's actually the typical
it's
Washington story.
there's
Just this year,
we
22
have
Democrats ran
our
for president.
favorite evil
They
people,
rejected all of
right?
the
The arms
outsiders and
manufacturers, the
nominated the
cigarette
ultimate
makers, the
Washington
oil
insider,
companies, but
someone
there's
they
a
had to pull out of
whole
retirement.
outlying
Every time Joe Biden offers
sectors
a new idea,
that
you should
benefit
ask
off of all
yourself,
this stuff.
why didn't he try that over
Just
the
as
last
much,
48
if
years?
not more,
Today,
than the military industrial
that started in China.
No, it's true, and that's the thing that drives me insane as well about this socialism rhetoric and like big government or whatever. It's like we already have that in our military. The military is the fucking most massive government jobs program that anyone could dream of, and we are subsidizing so many different businesses by just buying up shit that we don't need and will never use. So what would happen if we actually started putting that money towards something that would benefit society and not benefit a very select group of elites? Like, build fucking roads, build solar panels, invest in renewable energies, invest in schools and in society. But instead, we just fucking keep buying this shit. We just keep buying more bombs.
Well, and Paul, here's something that I was kind of rattling in my brain today, and I'm kind of glad that we got kind of into the weeds on this because it really has been something that's just been.
I like how all this is just triggered by this guy like being acting DNI or whatever.
That's what I love most about these convention podcasts is that we never talk about what's actually going on.
No, but
we're like, this asshole reminds me of this problem.
So, one of Stalin's big hullabaloos, one of his real close, when we think of Stalinism, right? One of the big things is bureaucracy. Stalin believed that the dictator of the proletariat would be, created by a, state bureaucratic machine. And I sometimes think about how many Stalinists we actually have in American government today. Like, nothing about the command colony or anything like that, but like the fact that bureaucracy is the machine of a well-functioning state, right? It has nothing else to do with how your people are or anything. How does your bureaucracy function?
Well, and bureaucracy is the sign of the state incorporating more citizens into itself,
right?
More closely, you know what I mean? So you could think of it, and to some extent, this is right to think of it as jobs programs. And yeah, there's probably a lot of jobs and inefficiency in government bureaucracy, but that also leads to a lot of money that's being injected into our economy and injected into families that would otherwise have a hard time finding, gainful employment. So it's not all bad, but we can't pretend that that's, at least from my perspective, we can't pretend that that's that the entire country should be consumed by bureaucracy.
Well, and America in the 1800s is a beautiful little portrait of that, right? What was the reason you wanted to be so that you could make your friends the male person of Illinois, right? The Postmaster General of the West. So that, that all the way down to, at the time, the police officer that walked the block in that neighborhood was all a part of the political machine.
Right.
And so gave that person that much more, they went out and knocked those doors and made sure that their neighbors voted, right? Because if not, I ain't having a job next winter. Come January, I'm out of a job, and so are all my friends who all have government jobs, and we're all a part of the machine.
Yeah.
Mike Pence filled the radio wave.
No, and that's the thing too about modern day, and John, kind of like you were saying too, it brings a lot of people out of poverty, right? Especially the military, and that's the biggest takeaway for me. I mean, if you look at the USPS and how amazing and efficient that thing can run, and it's ran by the fucking government. You look at the military and its ability to pull families out of poverty or give someone somewhere to go when they really have no other options, but they can work for the government and get a paycheck and stabilize their life. It's like an out for people if they're in really tough circumstances. And it's like, oh wait, if you think about that for a second, it's the government doing all these things. It's the government that can give these jobs. So why don't we expand that into useful things and not dangerous things?
Yeah, or redirect it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a defund the police. It's like instead of buying a fucking tank to drive around in during protests, why don't we hire some more social workers who can defuse the situation? That sounds more helpful to society. It's defund the military, essentially. Like, let's invest in infrastructure instead of buying another nuke. Like, I don't know. Whatever. I'm just ready at this point.
No, you're right. You're totally right. And this is what even got me interested in politics in the first place. Was as a person who kind of became somewhat politically aware in the Bush era. The waste of all the military spending and the injustice of spending that many resources, blood and treasure, on things that are so unimportant to the quality of life or the quality of society that we live in America, fucking piss me off. Like, it's a huge injustice, and that those funds could easily be redirected to a more just approach to improving the world.
Yeah, and guess what? We'll still have the biggest fucking military. That's how massive it is. We could chop it in half, and we still have the biggest guns.
Our nation experienced prosperity.
Looks like
When
Pence
did
is
you
about to
all
speak.
first know that 9/11 was an inside job? Do you remember?
When did I know for sure? I would say.
When did you suspect?
I suspected early on. You know, I was open-minded on the internet at a young age, but it's really when I saw the footage of Building 7 and the analysis of a structural engineer.
That Alaska analysis, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll say I was always suspicious. The moment I knew was pretty recently when I was watching the fantastic documentary Illuminati and Aliens, and it digs really heavily into 9/11, and that woke me up.
Wake me up! I saw a funny meme today where it was like the media asking why everyone believes these Epstein, these Epstein allegations, and that, our presidents are pedophiles and, they're doing satanic rituals. They're like, and the media's like, how come people believe this? And then they showed like the front page of Amazon, Hulu, and Netflix Netflix, and it was nothing but like conspiracy alien documentaries from like the History Channel.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, I wonder why everyone is like that, because we've all watched now hundreds of hours of conspiracy.
Yeah, that's so true. And Amazon, it's at the point now where like anyone can upload their shitty movie. So
the speaker we didn't know, Paul, was Karen Pence.
I didn't know that was her.
Karen.
What's
Karen?
Her name's actually Karen.
Isn't that right? I'm pretty sure.
No, I don't know. I don't know her. I don't pay any attention to Mike Pence.
I actually think Karen Pence is pretty cute.
Yeah, it's Karen. It's
yeah, you're right. It's
Pence.
Karen. Her name is actually Karen. That's wonderful. That's good. That's fun.
I mean, that makes sense, though, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be Karen.
Dude, they got a crowd now. Do you think they got like some shade the first night?
I don't know the last time I heard Mike Pence speak.
Good evening, America.
I don't either.
It's an honor to speak to you tonight.
You don't remember because you fall
From the
asleep immediately.
hallowed grounds of Fort McHenry.
That was Ben
The
Carson,
site of
John,
the
not
very
Pence.
No, Ben Carson was the one falling asleep.
Those words
You're
have
right, it is
inspired
slightly
this
different.
land of heroes in every generation since. It was on this
I don't
site
know that I could like have a
206 years
conversation with him and believe
when our young republic heroically
that,
withstood
like anything that came out of his mouth.
bombardment.
He
from the
seems
most powerful
so
empire on earth. They came to crush our revolution,
calculated,
to divide our nation, and to
but not in like
Oh, dude, if I was Michael Flynn, I'm
held
lying
this
to his
fort
ass every single time.
took their stand for
Oh, yeah.
life.
Every single
Liberty.
time. I wouldn't
Freedom.
tell Mike
And the
Pence the
American
truth,
flag.
even if it didn't
Those
matter.
ideals have defined our nation.
What'd you eat for breakfast? Oh, I had eggs and bacon. Actually, I
But they
had
were
a bowl of
hardly
cereal.
ever mentioned.
You know what I mean? Like, just would
Last
never
week's
tell him the
Democratic
truth.
National
This
Convention.
constant stream of misinformation.
Instead,
I didn't eat
Democrats
breakfast,
spent
but for
4
some
days
reason I didn't feel like I should
attacking
tell him the truth.
Yeah.
Joe Biden said that we were living
I like how in
through
this
a
crowd there's only like
season
one
of
family
darkness.
wearing masks.
But as President Trump said,
Are y'all familiar with the
where
concept
Joe
of a
Biden
philosophical
sees American
zombie?
darkness,
No.
we see American
Go
grace.
So it's
into
an
it.
idea. It's an idea, a thought experiment about like what if there are
In these challenging
beings,
times, our
or
country
what
needs
if there
a
was
president who believes in America,
an entity that
who believes in the
resembled a
boundless
human
capacity of the American
in
people,
every single way, in the way that they behave, and the way that they speak, the way they interact with you, and everything. They are outwardly human completely, but they have absolutely no inner experience, no qualia, there's nobody. The lights aren't on inside, but it's running. You know what I mean? So that's
Right.
a
Yeah,
philosophical
there's
zombie.
no, you know, our idea of a soul.
Right. There's no
soul on the
consciousness in
inside.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No consciousness. There's no watcher that's watching from behind their
You're saying
eyes.
that's Mike Pence, right?
I'm saying that Mike Pence really strikes me as like a very capable philosophical zombie.
Kamala Harris is kind of a philosophical zombie.
She could be.
days and weeks ahead. That's what Americans do.
It's like the
That's
lights are
what
on, but
Americans
nobody's
do.
home.
That's so fair.
4 years ago, I answered
I
the
think
call
he's the
to
only
join
one
this ticket
that is not on drugs in the Trump
because I
administration,
knew
and
that
that's just
Donald
because he
Trump
doesn't need them.
had the leadership and the vision
He's just
to make
always
America great
just
again.
the same.
No, dude,
for the
he
last 4
definitely
years-
self-flagellates.
I've watched this president.
If he
endure
self-flagellates,
unrelenting attacks, but
that's
get up
actually makes
every
him a
day
much more interesting and
fight
compelling
to keep the
character to me.
promises that he made
No
to the
doubt,
American
dude.
people.
That
I
means he
agree with
feels
that
something.
completely.
So with gratitude,
I always
and the
picture him as more of like an
confidence
autoerotic
President Trump has
asphyxiation
placed in
guy.
me, the support of our
Just like
Republican
really
Party,
into masochism.
and the grace of God. I humbly
I don't know,
accept your
dude. I think
nomination
he's
to
so
run
uptight
and
that he
serve
couldn't
as Vice President of the United States.
even do it. Like, I had a buddy in high school that was so afraid to masturbate, he never did it. And, like, I believed him when he told me this.
Afraid of the
How are
sin
you
of it.
afraid to masturbate?
Like, it just was like, of course you've been hard, and of course with all this stuff. He was, like, horrified of, like, what the end point of masturbation. And so
Serving
never
the
did
American people
That has to be a
and so I get that
psychological
journey that would not have
phenomenon.
been possible.
And I think that is really
Without the
what
support
like
of my
Mike Pence probably has. Like he is
Beginning with my wonderful wife, Karen.
the spilling of the seed other than for procreation. I kind of buy it from him.
She's a lifelong school
I kind of
teacher,
buy it from him.
an incredible mother to our 3 children.
She used to have Karen used to have a really nice
second lady of the United States.
what do you call that
I'm
when
so
it,
proud.
when the bangs? She used to have bangs and darker
Can I just
hair.
point out this this TV guy back there with the mask around his chin, who just like is chewing gum and doesn't give a fuck?
Michael J. Pence
No.
and his wife Sarah.
You know what? I bet somebody went to him and was like,
Our
"You
daughter,
can't wear
Charlotte
that
Pence
mask.
Bond,
Like, pull it
an
down."
author. and
He's
the
getting
wife of
tackled
Lieutenant
right now, so he
Henry
doesn't
Bond,
show up
who is
again.
currently
It's just
deployed
also
and
really
serving
solid
our
that he was
nation
just chewing
in
gum
the
in the
United
background of
States
that
Navy.
shot with his big headphones on and shit. Oh, they changed the shot, I think, because of that asshole.
And
You
our
know, I
youngest,
don't feel bad
a recent law
for many
school grad,
people in the Trump
our daughter
administration
Audrey,
or politics
and
in
her
general.
fiancé, who,
I do kind
like
of feel
so
bad for
many other
Karen
Americans,
Pence.
had to delay their wedding this summer.
Like
Why?
the amount of
So we
shit
can't
that
wait
woman
for
has to
Dan to
take
be a
in
part of our
DC has to be disgusting. And she's probably a perfectly fine person.
Yeah, she's probably very
In
pleasant.
addition,
Like,
my wife
you know,
and kids,
her bad for marrying
the person
Mike
who shaped my
Pence,
life
you
the
know,
most is also
50
with us
years
tonight.
ago.
She's
My
she's
mom,
probably also
Nancy.
very boring.
Well, that's just being from Indiana.
That's
Mama
true, man.
Pence.
I mean, Mike Pence is probably a good husband in
Is that
Indiana.
mother?
Yeah,
think
that's
it's
Mama
Mama.
Pence.
No, dude. He calls her
Mom
mother.
follows politics very
Mother.
closely.
Mother.
I use mother. Is that
The
weird?
truth be told,
Mother. Dude, yeah. That's
sometimes
like a
I think I'm actually her second
somebody with like a
favorite
serious
candidate
psychotic
on the
break
Trump
uses
Pence
mother.
ticket.
Yeah, that tracks.
Thank you, Mom. I love you.
You don't know what I'm capable of.
Oh, he said
Mommy.
mom right there.
Over the past 4
Aw,
years,
mommy. Thanks, mommy.
I've had the privilege to
Mother
work
doesn't
closely
let
with
me
our
eat
president.
with other women other than my
I've
wife.
seen him when the cameras are off.
Pence is the one that won't go to an event if there's
Americans see
alcohol if his
President
wife
Trump
isn't there,
in
right?
lots of different ways.
It said he
If-
won't be alone with another woman without his
Yeah,
no
wife.
doubt
that's-
how
Oh,
President Trump
okay.
sees America. He sees America for what
What
it
a
is.
cock, dude.
A nation that has
It's a
done more
weird
good
form
in
of
this
like
world than any other.
misogynism. You
A
know,
nation
I
that
like think
deserves
about
far
like,
more
what if
gratitude
Nikki
than
Haley,
greetings.
as the UN ambassador, needed
And if you
to
want a
say
president
something to VP? He
who
could
falls
not
silent
meet
when
up
our
with her
heritage is demeaned
Yeah.
or
by
insulted,
themselves.
No,
he's
he
not
has
your man.
he has too much respect for them, is what it is, Chris.
Well, it's like their only value is as a sex object, and there could be no other reason
Now,
that
we
he would
came
be
by
around a
very
woman.
different routes
Right.
in this
Like,
partnership.
or the insinuation is he
people
can't
think we're a
control
little bit
himself, or the woman can't
No,
control
they couldn't.
herself.
They couldn't
I've
control
learned a few things
themselves,
watching.
right?
It just makes
He's
them
know
a
love
what?
him
sex
more.
magnet.
Yeah. Mike Pence is a pure
things
sex
his own
magnet, dude.
Yeah, it's like,
Hey,
have you
no,
ever-
the
Just
thing
all
is,
libido.
the thing
all
is
libido.
that if Karen is there with him,
And when he has an
anything
opinion,
goes.
He's liable to share it.
That's what it is.
I
certainly
hope
kept things
that's
interesting.
true.
No, they're
I
just
hope that's
swingers.
right.
He wants his wife there all the time.
Yeah, that's
President Donald
it.
Trump has kept his word.
Kind of a
I've-
Jerry Falwell Jr. type situation, huh?
I want
That tracks.
Karen Pence, Mike
That
Pence,
definitely
Nikki
tracks.
Haley.
In a city known for
I've
progress,
had female
President
managers
Trump is a
before, and
doer.
I'm just imagining if like we were
The
supposed
few
to have like a
presidents have
one-on-one or
brought more
something, and I was like, "Hey,
independence,
listen, I can't
energy,
actually meet with you alone in
and
that room. My
determination
wife
of
isn't
that
here."
office.
Yeah.
4 years
We're
ago,
gonna
we
need
inherited
somebody
a
else in
military
this room,
hollowed out
please.
by devastating budget cuts.
I'm gonna need you to
An
tie my
economy
wrists
struggling to
down
break
to the
out of the
to the
slow
chair
recovery
before we can
Take me
talk.
to the radiator.
ISIS controlled a landmass
No,
twice the size
Mike would
of
have to
Pennsylvania.
chain her wrist down
witnessed a steady
because she would be so
on our most
sex
cherished
hungry
value.
for him.
Freedom of religion.
We're gonna have to have somebody come in here and chain us both down
That's when President Donald Trump
on opposite sides of the room.
The Mike
From
Pence
day one,
smolder,
he kept
dude.
his
No
word.
one can handle it.
We rebuilt our military.
This guy fucks, dude.
Clearly. Well, he fucked at least 3 times. We know that much.
Signed the largest
And that's
increase
it.
in our national defense
If
since
they
the
are
days
his kids.
of Ronald
I'm
Reagan,
I think
and
my
created the first
he was
new
afraid to
branch of our
masturbate
armed
growing up
forces
is more
in
right than
70 years,
any of
the
y'all.
United States Space Force.
I agree that he may have been afraid growing up. I don't think he is anymore. I think he's now into like dominatrix shit.
He
wants
he's
like
afraid, dude.
he wants to get spanked while he's on all fours, like have a candle wax poured on him.
I think it's still little Mikey
in nearly 10 years.
from Indiana out in the farm, and he's just like, God is watching me spill my seed.
And after years of scandal, robbed our veterans of the care
Jesus
that you
hates
earned.
me.
So he masturbates into the corn husk so God can't see.
President Trump kept his word again.
He's the type of guy that talks about his personal,
weirdest commentary we've had all fucking
his
RNC
personal
or
relationship with Jesus Christ, right? You know, like Jesus is my friend. I got saved when I was 12. You know, that one. That's like your relationship is like a little too on the nose. You know, like you can love Jesus, don't be in love with Jesus. I think
Mike Pence is gay for Jesus. You heard it here first.
Recipients of the Purple Heart.
I don't know. Maybe that's just growing up in the South. I knew a lot of those people
Gold Star Mother
that were gay for Jesus.
of a gallant.
Well, it's like take that relationship back just one step.
Yeah, just
you know,
one little one.
Wounded warriors
like
from
don't
Soldier Strong.
infantilize.
Injured veterans every day.
What's that word?
Well, he is literally infantilized every Christmas.
And we
It's
thank
true.
you for your service.
Sweet baby Jesus.
Sweet baby. 6
Sweet
pounds,
baby.
4 ounce baby Jesus.
Oh, baby Jesus. Please don't watch me masturbate.
Close your eyes, baby Jesus.
He got a standing ovation. They were really slow to stand, though. I'm not very impressed with that.
Well, everyone there's like 75 years old, dude. Half of them can't stand.
Well, he forgot to say please clap.
Oh.
With heroes just like these, we defend this nation every day.
A couple of
And under this
people are
commander
yelling
in chief,
4 more years every once in a while.
we've taken the fight with radical Islamic terrorists on our
You think they're like the biggest Pence fans? Like they're like, man, I can't wait till Pence gets to be president.
Yeah. What did Mike Pence do to get renominated as VP?
He did nothing.
Dude.
I mean, I kind of think that's it, right? I mean, look at the people who have been around Trump the whole time, other than his kids. Other than his kids. It's Stephen Miller. It's Mike Pence. You can't even say Kellyanne Conway anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, how many other people have been around since the beginning? Ben Carson? He slept the whole time. He's been sleeping for 3.5 years.
Ben Carson has
Miller
narcolepsy.
still in the White House?
But it's not surprising.
Stephen Miller is still in the White House.
Because history records that Joe
I thought he had
Biden
left for some
opposed the
reason.
operation that took down
No,
Osama bin
dude,
Laden.
he has stuck, and that's what I'm saying. What?
It's no wonder
And
that the Secretary
for
of
Miller,
Defense
it was
under the
his.
Obama Biden
He is such a
administration
sycophant for Trump.
that Joe Biden
He
has
understands
been, and I
that
quote,
he won't ever have
wrong
this
on
chance
nearly
again
every
on
major
immigration,
foreign
and
policy
he's
and
stuck
national
in the
security
immigration
issue
lane.
over the past 4
What
decades.
lane did Mike Pence? I mean, did he just not take a lane?
So we've stood up to our enemies.
Did he just shovel Trump shit? So whatever, you know,
Like when President Trump
what
kept his
Trump
word
came to him and was like, I need you to go to fucking, you know, wherever bumfuck Iowa, right?
of the state
Talk
of
to a
Israel.
corn farmer.
Setting the stage
And,
I
for
just
you know,
the
Pence
imagine-
just
Arab
jumped up
country
and
to
did it.
recognize
I
Israel
imagine
in
Mike
26
just
years.
goes home to his family. He's like, another crazy day at work, kids.
Closer to home, we appointed
There's a bunch of weird people in my
our
office.
federal courts. We supported the right to life.
Every day, right? Every single.
You won't
Another crazy
believe
day
it.
at work.
Right to keep and bear arms.
Like he's just acting like it's a regular job.
Yeah, just sits down in front of a big bowl of boiled corn.
His word and then some.
Kisses his
Nah,
wife
dude,
on the cheek.
It's
Yeah.
tuna casserole, dude.
My secretary said the funniest joke today.
We unleashed American energy.
Beef stroganoff, dude.
And in our first 3 years, businesses large and small created more than 7 million.
What is this really? I'm trying to fuck the corn lobby right now. Between them and New York, dude. I think those are our biggest
Listen,
issues
dude,
on this
yeah.
pod.
Fuck big corn.
Fuck big corn.
I will say I do like popped corn.
For the first time in 70 years.
We can keep popped corn. We can keep sweet corn.
Are you guys saying popped corn?
Of the woman's right to vote.
I love popped
corn. President Donald Trump, we achieved the lowest.
You made me say it.
For women.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Are y'all saying popped with a
I didn't. I didn't even catch it. I was like, I said it. I was like, why did that feel so weird?
In our first 3 years, we built the greatest
corn.
I love the popped corn. 90% of the corn we produce isn't edible to humans. Stop making that shit.
Are you saying you hate animals?
Is pop.
Popped. It's animals in for corn syrup.
And then when the corn syrup doesn't get used, the animals eat that too.
Yeah. You just inject into their stomachs that makes them all fat and they fall over.
So to talk about what old Mikey's talking about right now, he hasn't been the first person to do this at the RNC, but it's kind of weird to go back and be like, before the coronavirus, everything was going really well.
President Trump
they keep doing that.
Yeah.
From the outset.
They keep doing that.
Seamless partnership with governors.
It's kind of a weird tactic.
Well, and it's like, okay, is the argument that you can get us back to there once Corona's done? Because you got to deal with Corona first. And they haven't been able to do that. And we're not getting a vaccine, motherfucker.
Yeah, their whole... It makes sense, though, because that's shit. That's what my parents believe. That's what a lot of people, a lot of boomer tier people believe. Is
that it? Is that
everything was really great right before Corona hit? And, you know, if you had a lot in the stock market, it was really great.
So that mentality has penetrated.
Yeah, totally.
What's the argument, though, for how we get to the other side?
We build hospitals, surge military.
Well, you have different groups of people. Like a lot of people just don't think it's that big of a deal and think it's exaggerated by media and the left for political means. And a lot of people don't necessarily care that much. Like the effects of it are not as extreme as initially reported, it seems.
Well,
so that they don't care as much. And then other people just aren't that. They don't think that the left would handle it any better, I guess. There's a lot of people who just who don't think that far outside of their own little personal bubble. So.
Yeah.
Well, and John, right on your point. I mean, suburban, middle to upper middle class whites haven't done that bad this whole period, right? Most of them still have their jobs. You know,
they still got their health insurance.
They went remote, right? So it doesn't really matter. Their 401k took a hit at the very beginning at this, but stock market's been doing gangbusters.
Yeah.
You know, the stock market is not the economy anymore. They are not tied together. The upper middle class, upper classes are making money hand over fist in the stock market.
Right.
And pray for God's comfort.
So,
for each of you.
I don't know. And then
it probably does penetrate. You're right.
At the same time, there's all this there's all the social unrest.
It penetrates to the voters that matter to the Republican Party, right?
Yeah,
they're trying to get the white middle class women in the suburbs. That's who they're speaking to right now. I feel like.
Well, frankly, I think you're right. I think those are the people that both parties are going after, though.
Mm-hmm. No,
I think a lot of the signaling that
it's so funny. They're all going after 5 to 10%
every day.
Yeah.
We have almost half of the voting populace not voting every single year.
She stayed on the job.
And they're all going after a sliver of 5 to 10%.
Got back in her neighborhood.
Yep.
And not standing for anything.
To be fair, some of the most conservative people in the world.
New York City firefighter.
An American conservative, right, even on the middle spectrum, is more conservative than just about anywhere in the world.
Democrats are more conservative than most industrialized nations' conservative parties.
You have earned the admiration.
Even those
of the
parties say
American
like,
people,
"Oh fuck yeah,
and we
you
will
really
always
need
be
Medicare for
grateful
all. What
your
are you
service
doing?"
and care.
Yeah. Well, and the Republican Party is the only conservative party, I think, in the world that denies climate change.
Yeah.
They need to get on that Teddy Roosevelt game. If they could beat the left on climate change, they could like really flip some shit around.
Make America Teddy again.
If you got a green, seriously though, think about this. If you got a green Republican
Thanks to the courage and compassion of the American people,
who was like, hey, we're about to fucking save the world with like a military attitude.
Yeah.
we're saving lives.
I think that would sell.
And we're
I'd
opening
buy
up
it.
America.
I would like to see
shit,
another. I would like to see another trust buster again.
Trump poured in our first 3 years.
Dude, think about the harm reduction
We already
argument for that guy,
gained
though.
back
Like, even if you disagree with like him on social issues and stuff, but he's like hell bent on fixing what we're doing to the environment, he could swing a lot of votes.
And we're not just opening up America again.
That's what I'm saying. We need to find that guy because he's the Messiah.
Yeah.
Maybe we're him.
Should we form up in Voltron?
And I'm proud to report that
That's the cue, dude. We got to manipulate Q into becoming kind of an eco-fascist.
all of our heroic
Green Q, I like it.
With the green shirt
Thank
movement.
you for being there for our kids. We're going to stay with
Get
you
out there,
every step
go
of the way.
get yourself a Columbia Performance fly fishing gear. Green button-down shirt. We're wearing those.
Yeah.
And
we're all going to have like those $700, 1 ounce backpacks.
Work to bring this economy back.
Yep.
We
We're
got
having
Enos.
We all have a role to play.
What's that?
I said we have Enos.
Yeah, we're gonna have like a military bug out bag, each of us with Enos, and
some of those walking sticks.
Yeah.
Those metal walking sticks.
Hemp bag, dude.
Yeah.
Carabiners on my waistband.
Oh, dude, so many carabiners. All of the all my bracelets are paracord.
I'm gonna start a rock climbing church. It's gonna be great.
There you go, rock climbing church, dude.
We talk about Jesus.
Is that a real
and
thing?
It could be.
Rock climbing church, dude, and then also gun range.
Yes.
You could call it
rock
Ascension.
climbing gun range. Oh, Ascension. That's a great name, dude.
Whoa.
Guys, I think we need to get religious again.
Yeah,
we just did something here.
We just did something.
Just as our nation had
Just don't tell them I'm an atheist. I'll fake it.
We've seen violence and
Should we call ourselves the stewards?
The stewards. I wish steward was a cooler word because
yeah,
yes,
it really
I
is
would,
not a good enough word.
But rioting and looting is not peaceful protest.
Let me go
it's
to the
lame.
internet.
It sounds like
Tearing
a
down
Stewart,
statues
which
is
is kind of a
not
lame name.
Yeah.
And those who do so will
Yeah.
Speaking of lame, dude, Mike Pence
Shout out
sucks.
to all the Stewarts out there. Our
Yeah,
listeners.
thanks for listening.
Yeah, you can go ahead and turn the
Joe
podcast
Biden
off
didn't
now.
say one word.
It's only going to get worse for you, bros.
So let me be clear.
You've only begun to hear about my
Violence
Stewart
must
hate.
stop.
But man, if
Minneapolis,
you are a Stewart and
Portland,
you've made it
or
through
Kenosha,
2 hours of this podcast,
too
I'm
many
honestly
heroes have died
intrigued by
defending
you.
our freedom to see
What are the
Americans strike
chances?
each other down. We will have law
So,
and order
one of
on
the
streets
synonyms
of this
for
country
steward
every
is overseer.
American of
Should we be the
every race
overseers?
and creed and color.
Gonna roll that one back. Gonna roll that back.
There's some baggage. I can't put my finger on it.
That one doesn't feel right.
I gotta
does
dig
it?
through my my mind plantation to figure out why that feels weird, but I'm never gonna come off that one, dude.
It's a
That shit
prison
was
of
so-
the mind.
Women that put on the uniform of law enforcement.
Emancipate yourself from
For the best
mental
of us.
slavery. None but
could be-
ourselves can free our minds.
We
I
could
keep
be the
thinking he's done with the
Reavers.
speech. That's a cool name.
Our lives more
That's
important than
badass.
That's pretty cool.
The badass Reavers with
People
the
like
Rock
Dave
Church, baby.
Patrick Underwood.
Ascension,
An
baby.
officer in the Department of
Church
Homeland
We're a bunch of
Swamp,
Reavers at
the
Ascension.
Mount.
Oh God, the Reavers. I feel like that's a post-apocalyptic gang.
riots in Oakland.
That's what. Yeah.
Well, I believe it was the Reavers in
heroism is emblematic
Gears of War, wasn't it?
of the heroes that
Oh,
serve
really?
you every day.
I'm pretty sure that was what they called
Privileged
the
tonight to
alien
be joined by his
race.
sister Angela.
No,
You know
I thought they were locusts. Weren't they?
Angela, we say to you, we
Is that right?
Maybe I'm wrong.
grieve with your family.
Reaver was a name.
And America
I may be
will
wrong
never
about this, but
forget
I'm pretty sure
fail to-
that Reavers is what the people who lived in the I think the Midlands of England, of Britain, kind of on the borderland between Scotland and England. And Reavers were like gangs of people or like bands of local warlords or clans who would go back and forth and steal each other's sheep.
So you're actually pretty close. The definition I have is a local official, in particular, the chief magistrate of a town or district in Anglo-Saxon England.
Interesting.
So you're pretty right on the money, dude.
Here's what I'm
Because
talking about. It's actually
what were the
spelled.
chief magistrates in towns doing? They were knights. You know, they were like local warlords.
The one I'm thinking of, I just Googled it. The one I'm thinking of is actually spelled Reivers. I don't know if they're
interesting,
etymologically related.
That's the French version. River.
By the way, I don't have any audio. Is the video still going?
I realized I accidentally muted it. Can you hear it now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't mentioned Mike Pence speaking in like the last 20 minutes, so I think we're okay.
I know, but I do like the background noise of him talking and moving around.
Yeah.
It's somehow comforting.
Yeah. It's just nice to know that he is there and he is talking, but all of it is
That's
irrelevant,
right.
you know? The definition of Reaver that I pulled up was a large flying creature utilized by the locust horde that possesses the ability to walk on the ground. It's about 10 feet tall, armed with a variety of weapons. I found this on the Gears of War and fandom.com.
See, I told you.
You were right.
I told you. I remember. Me member.
I feel like I was reading from like the D&D monsters manual there.
Can I be honest, though? I do think Kamala Harris is going to beat the shit out of Pence in a debate.
She will eviscerate Pence if they do debate.
I'd like to see it.
I just don't think he's smart enough.
Yeah, he does not really seem very sharp.
Dude,
I mean, it's almost, you know what ends up happening, and this may be how they play it, is that they're like, look at this black woman beat up on this white man.
Last week.
Or maybe
this young black woman beating up on this old white man. Can you believe this?
Bernie Sanders did tell his followers.
Oh wait, you talking about Bernie, you fucker?
President in modern times. In fact,
what?
He wrote Bernie.
I'm talking about. Oh, he
and
did.
I quote that many of the ideas
talking about me.
he fought for,
fuck you,
that just a few years
no.
ago were considered radical,
He did say this.
are now mainstream.
He's doing like a George Bush
in the
thing.
Democratic Party.
He's the
At the
decider,
root
dude.
of their agenda,
He
is
did the
the
hands
belief
thing that George
America
Bush used
is
to do
driven
too
by envy.
earlier.
Not aspiration. That millions of Americans harbor ill will toward our neighbors instead of loving our neighbors as ourselves. The radical left believes that the federal
Did Mike
government
Pence
must be
have a
involved
neighbor in
every
Indiana?
aspect of
I
our
doubt
lives
it.
to correct.
Dude, he has one of those big ass houses with like tons of land. Never sees them.
Dictate how Americans live, how we should work.
Ain't nothing wrong with
raise our
that.
children.
They're trying to tell you how to live your life.
Freedom, prosperity, and security.
Did you know BLM wants to take away your family?
They want to take your children away and stomp on your church.
They don't want you to be a parent.
And they're trying to
out of the Pledge of Allegiance.
By nearly $4 trillion.
And off the dollar bill. Don't forget about that one.
For the United States, Joe Biden would abolish.
We've given more taxes to billionaires, millionaires, and large corporations than any other president in the history of the United States. Joe Biden wants to raise taxes by a little bit on people making $400,000 a year. How crazy is that?
Why is it so bad to tax rich people?
He wants to repeal all the tariffs that are.
I want to tax all the rich people.
Take it back to the best Republican president ever, Eisenhower, dude.
90%, baby.
He was taxing those motherfuckers at 90%.
Joe Biden is for open
top 1%, 90% tax rate.
Dude, and you know Eisenhower sat down in the room with those guys and he said, "Fuck with me. You got to help me pay for this war."
He's secured our border and built.
I don't think Eisenhower would have said, "You got to help me." I think he just said, "Fuck you. I'm doing this."
Fuck you. I'm taxing you at 90%.
Yeah, fuck you, you piece of shit. I beat the Nazis. Come at me.
Every parent should have the right to choose where their children go to school.
Dude, he had to have like
he really was probably the last person who could like shit on the ruling elite.
Yeah, no one could like say anything because it wasn't for him. Like society would have looked a lot fucking different, and they certainly wouldn't have been living lives they've lived.
He was kind of a Washington there for a little bit.
He supports taxpayer funding of abortion.
That big dick swagger, you know.
A Julius Caesar.
When you consider their agenda, it's clear. Joe Biden would be nothing more than a
Otto von Bismarck.
For the radical left.
A Napoleon Bonaparte.
Very nice.
And the stakes have
Don't go any farther.
Oh, okay.
Last week,
what was Clausewitz's first name? I can't even remember.
Our economic recovery.
Clausewitz.
Isn't that one? Isn't that a military?
I don't know. I've never heard that name.
But so are things far more fundamental.
Karl von.
Yeah, Karl von, thanks.
The Prussian guy.
This election,
it's you know, I have a secret place in my heart for the Prussians.
That's like the third Prussian reference you've made today.
Republican or more Democrat.
Like I said.
Yo, Prussians be killing it.
Is whether America remains America.
Bismarck was Prussian, no?
It's whether we will leave to our children and our grandchildren a country grounded in our highest ideals of freedom, free markets, and the unalienable right to life and liberty.
Those Slavic Germans, dude. I just have a special place in my heart for them for some reason.
Yeah.
It's the low Germans from
That's the low German, and I come from low European, so I think I always just love myself a low European. Slavs,
I'm
gypsies.
On a path of socialism.
I'm about.
But we're not gonna.
I think it's like 30% or so. Central European, and most of it being the Prussian. Actually, it was Prussia when my ancestors immigrated.
Right.
Every day.
And they ended up in fucking Arkansas.
That's how it happens, dude. That's how it happens.
Our president has been fighting to expand the reach of the American dream. Every day.
Mike Pence's applause lines are so pathetic.
And now it's our turn.
Like they're not even good punches. Do they have a sign somewhere telling people when to clap? I don't know how they know how to clap.
Because he pauses.
On this night in the company of heroes, I'm deeply grateful.
How can they know when to clap?
Deeply grateful.
How do they know?
Well, he's just
how can they
ending
possibly
normal
know?
Sentences. He's just ending a sentence.
Have the opportunity to serve.
It's not like he's saying something awesome or badass.
That would get so tedious as well. Imagine if you were in that audience and you just felt compelled every time he stopped talking.
Well, I mean, it's like the State of the Union address.
We have a president with the toughness.
Where everything's a standing ovation.
Right. Mm-hmm. We're going to the moon in the next 20 years. Again, after 40. Oh, I guess we need to clap now.
Okay, we clap for that?
On approach to this fort.
Dude, I never thought I'd say this, but Mike Pence is making me really miss Donald Trump.
He's just, dude, he is milk toast with mayo.
Oh my God. It's so bad. At least they didn't give Biden this long to talk, dude. He's been talking for like 50 minutes, I feel like.
Fort McHenry held.
He started at like 9:30. I think this is like a 40-minute speech.
Well, they've gone past 11 o'clock Eastern.
Jesus.
Maybe he's gonna step down, and that's why this is his final speech.
He's nominating Nikki Haley.
Hey, how much does the vice president make?
But if you look through the fog of
What's their salary?
Is it directly half of the president?
our flag is still.
I don't know. The president makes
because he's 1/10 the worth.
400K, and I think
that star-spangled
senators make like 225K or something. Does that sound right?
And the home
I think it's. Isn't that much?
I think so. Yeah.
Vice president makes $230,700 a year.
From these hallowed grounds, American patriots and
it is almost half.
Did their part to defend freedom.
Because presidents make about $400,000,
and that's for life.
Run the race marked out for us.
Are they paying him by the word for this speech? Because it's fucking way too long.
Low energy, dude. Low energy, Mike.
Low energy, long.
And let their courage.
A lot of flags.
About to start calling him stuttering Mike, dude.
And let's fix our eyes on the author and perfecter of our faith and our freedom.
Today, Junior.
That where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. That means
Spirit of the Lord.
I feel like a normal person could have gotten through this speech in like 15 minutes if they just didn't pause every other word.
Yeah, dude.
My fellow
This has
Americans,
definitely been
thank you for the honor
Ambien
of
night,
addressing you
not
tonight.
Coke night.
And the opportunity
This guy right
to
here
honor
looks like Vladimir Lenin.
Vice President.
Oh, he does
I leave
kind of
here
look a little
today.
BI-ish, huh?
And I leave here today more convinced
Vladimir.
than ever.
We got a Koba Stalin hiding somewhere.
We will do in our time. As
I really want to get a
Americans
dog
have
and name
done
him
throughout
Koba.
Our long and storied past.
Is that Stalin's name?
We will defend our
This is his
freedom
nickname.
and our way of life.
His name was Joseph, right?
We will
Yeah.
re-elect our president
It was like a
and
pet name.
principled Republican leaders across the land.
I read a
And
really
with
long
President
book on
Donald
Stalin.
Trump in the White House for 4 more years, and with God's help, we will make
Essentially-
America great again. Again.
With
Just
Trump.
a little. He said it. Oh my
Yes!
God. He fucking said it.
He
God
did
bless
it.
you.
He did it.
And God
Oh
bless
my
you.
God,
All right.
that deserves a
He did
standing ovation.
Redemption.
4
dude, I saw
more
Stalin.
years.
I saw.
4 more years.
Did you see the way that he pulled his jacket in? He was like so smug, but he's like, I just nailed that.
I know.
We're gonna make America great again.
Totally nailed it.
Again.
Everyone loved it. Everyone thinks I'm a really great vice president.
Really nailed that.
I'm really good.
This is my moment.
Karen, don't kiss me. Do not kiss me.
Trump.
There's Trump.
Is
There's
Trump
more
and
to
Melania?
this.
Here they come.
Oh my God.
Here they come.
Wait, are they actually touching? They're holding hands.
That's illegal.
You know you missed him.
What kind of?
You know you want him. Here is your president,
I
Donald
think that.
J. Trump.
Whoa.
Trump. He should have requested a better walkout song.
Dude, he's not about to speak, is he?
Well, you know why Hail to the Chief has become the presidential song, right?
Why?
One of the first ladies, I believe it was John Tyler's wife, got tired of nobody knowing when John Tyler would enter into the room. And so she was like, she wanted some kind of like grand processional, and they came up with Hail to the Chief. So
That's pretty funny.
every time he would enter a room, Hail to the Chief would come on, and everyone would know he was entering the room.
I love that.
Was he just like short and
Yeah,
inconspicuous?
and like totally unassuming, hated glad handing, and she was just like embarrassed that like nobody was like coming up and talking to them.
Yo,
That
we got
Ted
Trace
Nugent-
Atkins.
Oh, it's Trace Atkins. What's he gonna sing?
Remove your hats.
I'm assuming the national anthem.
Oh, say can
Oh, how deep and sultry.
you see
Damn.
By the dawn.
All right. Well,
Paul, you're like a couple seconds in front of us.
Am I?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I think we're gonna have to wrap this up. This is
wrap it up.
way
Pete.
over time.
Jesus Christ.
I'm about done with this fucking show. Well, thank you for listening. This has been Realpolitik. It has been night 3 of the Republican National Convention. We love you all. Stay strong.
Back to your regularly scheduled programming next week.
Going back to the normal eps next week. So excited for it. Doing a couple crossovers with a few other pods too, which I'm pretty excited about. So we'll have some news coming.
So be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout, man. We got a bunch of folks in the lineup for the next month and a half, 2 months actually. So that's pretty exciting stuff.
Things are happening for Realpolitik.
Things are
money us. Money us now.
Drop us some money. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Mike Pence is low energy, literally put me to sleep. So
I'm talking fat stacks, motherfucker.
Thank you for listening.
Everybody.
Good night.
Hail to the chief.
Later.
Peace.